Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hit that like button as you come in. Hit that like button as you come in. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome back to the Real Precious. I appreciate everyone who is here. It is going to be a good show tonight. I think everyone has been anticipating this show. I have been anticipating this show. Um, Look, it's a group, team, collective. So I want those who are in the chat to be asking the men the questions that you have tonight. Um, because they in the hot seat tonight. We gonna wonder why they got married. Um, as content creators, we are in these YouTube streets. Okay, we're on social media, and we definitely King is here. Welcome, King.
Hey.
We definitely push the message of marriage, togetherness, family, and I've had a wonderful time being on this YouTube space, and I've had the pleasure to meet these great men, collaborate with them, be on platforms with them, and just help spread that message. And so I appreciate you guys for being here this evening. I appreciate your other halves for participating in this. I really want to turn this into a series. I was just telling the guys, I do want to, this was a mixed message Monday with King, and then it turned into a men's panel where we got the men's perspective to gain understanding. And now we're going to move into and shift into more family based conversations where there are men who are in it. At some point, we will open it up to the women as well. But I kind of want to go and shift since we've already been doing the men's panel. But I think it's a perfect opportunity to get the people that I have been collaborating with, that I do trust, that I do respect, to be able to be on a platform and have these conversations and, have them with the public and, answer some questions and get further and have perspectives that are a lot more broader than the narrow perspective that a lot of people have on relationships nowadays. So I really do appreciate you guys for being here. We have Mr. He Said in the building. We also have Sir Hale. He's been away, but it seems as though he's come back, and this live is the live he's come back on. So I appreciate you for being here, Sir Hale. We have my co-host, the actual King Smith. How are you this evening, sir?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on, Precious.
Thanks for being here. We also have Hank in the basement. I kind of feel like Hank is kind of like my uncle. Like I kind of say Hank is like the uncle. You know what I mean? The cool uncle that's going to tell you like it is. Okay, Hank, I appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much. All right, and we have. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And I was just saying, right on.
All right, all right, all right. And we have so many people in the chat. I don't know what it is. I don't know if y'all breaking the internet or what, but my mouth's got a mind of its own right now. Is not cooperating. So I'm gonna highlight as many comments as I can, but we're gonna jump into it. We have Crystal Light saying, "Can't wait." Look, these messages came in last night. Okay, Dorian says, I'm looking forward to this episode. Me too. God happened to me is in the building. Thank you so much for being here. She says, good evening, all. And we have Mrs. She said in the building. Mrs. Beautiful. She said in the building. Good evening. Good evening. She watching from all the pages. Okay. I know that's right. That's support. Sean, thank you so much for being here. Take heed to the message is in the building. Thank you so much for being here. The Queen, Sir Hale's Queen is in the building. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you guys so much for being here. Again, we do not have any supporting details. You know how we like to do the videos and talk on them. We're not going to do that tonight. We're going to hop right on in. We do have some men joining us. So as they join us, we'll bring them up to the panel. And Henry's Resilient wants to know what type of panel is this? It's a panel of men who are committed, who are going to be getting into some real life experience in the relationship, marriage world. So sit still, Henry. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Um, so I do want to start off by asking you guys the man before the marriage, before we get into the marriage talk and how'd you meet your wife and all that good stuff. Who was the man before the marriage? And so we're gonna go in order here. We're gonna go with Mr. He Said first.
Thank you for having me, Precious. Thank you for even considering me for this panel. It's a pleasure to be here and an honor as well. Shout out to King. Thank you for having me, sir. The man before I was married was a sports person, very sports minded, very team oriented. I played, junior high school basketball, college basketball. And in New York City, that's a very concentrated sport. So you pretty much, are going to games, you are concentrated with the gym or the park, and that was me. I say it a lot on my platform that I escaped a lot of negativity. I escaped a lot of bad things that happen to younger people my age because my concentration was the park and the gym. So I wasn't amongst the predators. I wasn't amongst the negative influences because I was pretty concentrated on sports. So that was pretty much me until I met the missus. I was a sports orientated, backpacker, you know, concerned with education, never really been one to follow to a crowd, always been outspoken, always been, demonstrative, always been passionate, always been articulate. So, the me before the missus was just a team person, team oriented, and a sports minded young man.
All right. Basketball. Are you left-handed or right-handed? What hand you shoot with?
Right, right-handed.
Got you. Got you. All right. So we got the team sports guy, Mr. He Said before the misses. How about you, Sir Hell? Who was the man before the misses?
So, in all honesty, I was not a man before the missus. I
Okay.
met her at 17, got married at 19. I was not a man. I looked like one. I sounded like one. I walked like one, and I pretended to be one, but I was just an adult. I wasn't a man. So what I was before is I was a musician. I was a musician and a speaker, and I traveled different places earning my money from doing just that. A very insecure person relationally, but very confident in terms of my talents and my skills, and had a passion for love, a passion for relationships, a passion for family dynamics. But if I'm being honest with you, if I'm being 100% honest with you, I was an adult at 18 years old, but I did not become a man until I was 30 years old. And so marriage helped to grow me up. But that's who I was before. I was a young adult trying to figure life out, trying to figure out how to be a husband and a father and a businessman, trying to be something I didn't see before. That's who I was before the missus.
Okay. You hit on a lot of things that we're going to speak on. So thank you. I appreciate that. We're going to drop down to Hank. Hank, the man before the missus.
Oh shit. Damn. Now, officially, I'm not there just yet, but it's coming real soon.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give no dates because that's what you're looking for. I said it's about the element of surprise.
Ooh.
Let me say this. Before I ever got married, I was a reformed man whore. Change, trying to do something different, realizing, look, eventually it's gonna get old real fast, and I didn't want it to take me out by just going from pillow to bedpost or whatever the saying is called. So I just need to do something different, and so I had to make some changes. And I had a son, so having a son, you don't want your son to see that. My daughter, she wasn't living with me at the time, but my son was. So they want him to see that and see what's going on with that. So I said I got to do something different, and so I was forced to change thanks to my son. So, but with that change came with a lot of other things. I was managed to invest more money because I wasn't spending as much money. I save a lot more, and realizing how important marriage can be. How important it was, and it can be with the right person. Though it's got to be the right person. So.
Okay, thank you so much for that,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. King.
All right,
The
so
man before the missus.
the man before the missus. So I have a very similar thought to what Sir Hill said. I was married at 20, divorced at 34. The person that I was when I was 20, when I look back, I didn't really know myself. Like, yes, I was grown enough to serve in our nation's country, active duty Air Force, deployed, carrying a gun, all of that stuff. But I wasn't what I would say by definition or terms is how people kind of use a man at that time. I think I really got the chance to know myself and learn myself outside of my divorce. That's when I kind of grew up. And where I'm sitting at now is it's someone that I don't foresee being married again in my future, but I do respect, and I am in a long-term monogamous relationship. At least that's how we're planning it. So
Okay, thank you so much for that. Ricky, welcome to the panel. How are you this evening, sir?
I'm good. I'm good. How everybody doing?
What up, bro?
Doing good.
Peace to the gods. How y'all doing?
Right on, big brother.
You haven't missed much at all. I'm on the first question, and it is the man before the missus. Who was Ricky Williams before he said "I do"?
A good guy gone bad.
Break
Good
that
guy
down.
gone bad. You know what I'm saying? Like this story you done heard 100 times on YouTube already. Had a high school sweetheart. She did me bogus. You know what I'm saying? So you change your mentality to get the results you need. That's exactly what it was. Right. I was a good dude, but I was a cold dude. I really didn't care. It's kind of cutthroat with it. You know what I'm saying? I was telling the ladies, hey, I'll rock. We ain't together. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to hit and quit. I ain't got no time for you. You know what I'm saying? Always been a decent dude, so girls always try to holler at me. I had never have a problem with women, but I just didn't have my attitude wasn't right for them. As far as life, I've always been a working man. I always been trying to get to it, get stuff done. Always trying to plan for the future, so that never changed. But I always wanted to be married.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I always wanted to be married, and the reason why is because uh, what I saw when I was growing up wasn't a lot of married couples, and the ones I did, it looked like everything worked right for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I had a friend that I grew up with uh, from grammar school to now, Terrence Evans, man, and his mom and dad been together as long as I've been alive, right? And they set a great example. I was able to go to their house and they accepted me like one of their own. Dad used to sit me down, tell me about what's going on. It was just a nice place. It was a great place to be,
Mm-hmm.
right? But as far as relationship, I really didn't care about what no woman was saying or doing. I just didn't worry about that because, like I said, you do what the world tell you is right. Whether it's your mother, your sister, your aunties, you know what I'm saying. As far it is with a woman, and it just didn't turn out the way it's supposed to. So once that happened, I was just I was real ugly with it. So
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Now, Sir Hale and King Smith, you guys talked about not being a man until a certain age. I want you guys to talk about that because there are a lot of men who, tune into the channel, they tune into the social medias. And what do you guys mean when you say, oh, well, I wasn't a man until this? What was it that made you realize that, okay, now I'm a man?
All right. I'll go because I'll be really brief on this. Um, Even though I was in the service, I didn't necessarily have my own identity or call myself a man with purpose. Now, part of that is you can kind of raise your hand and say, well, was it fair that your ex-wife had to, chose to be with you and then had to, stand by you as you were trying to figure that out? I don't know. That's for her to answer. Yet it is one of those things that it would have been interesting to see had I figured out who I was and understood my purpose, um, if she would have, stayed alongside me. But I didn't know what my purpose was. I couldn't accurately state it the way that I can say it right now. I just couldn't do that in my 20s.
Okay. So you didn't know your purpose then,
No.
but you got it now. Okay. How about for you, Sir Hale? When did you realize that, you know, you knew you weren't a man and you were growing into one and boom, now I know that I'm a man?
Yeah, so if I'm being transparent, and this may be as open as I've ever been before. So
Exclusive.
I grew up with, in terms of being a minister, a speaker, always there for people, responsible for others. And I was a chronic people pleaser, So everything that I did was oriented at what other people are going to think based on what I do, right? What's my family going to think? What's my community going to think? What are other people going to think? And you don't become a man if every decision you make, you live in perpetual fear of what other people are going to think and say about you. You are not a man if you live your life based off of the fear of what other people think about. And so while I was dominant, like I'm in the gym, I'm benching 300-400 pounds and I'm making money and I'm dominant in terms of my craft. Like men know, you can see a man who have all the outside stuff, all the looks, but when you're in the presence of a man who's confident within himself and he's not worried about, it's not that he doesn't respect other people's opinions, it's that he doesn't live by other people's opinions. And I just wasn't that guy. And I hated myself for it. Like I walked around making other people happy while I crumbled on the inside. And it took me till I was 30 where I went through something in my life. And all the people who I'm concerned is going to have something to say. You have like this epiphany. You're worried about people who've never come to visit you, who've never paid a bill of yours. You know what I mean? People who can't, what they say or do doesn't impact your life one way or the other. And you come up to this mentality where you realize you will never be a great man living in fear. And you have to not only know who you are, but here's the big thing for me, and you got to accept who you are, the good, the bad, the ugly, the greatness, because that's the foundation upon which you can develop. So I wasn't a man until I realized that at 30, and I lost people because when you are a people pleaser, you cut that line off, you lose people.
Right.
but I've gained some real solid people. And now I'm getting out of life all the things that I wanted because I'm showing up as my authentic self. And I really don't give a darn about what people think outside of, them just saying stuff and having opinions. I'm who I am and I'm going to be that, and I accept me. And I think once I got that mentality, that's when I became a man.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome to the panel. Do you want us to call you Darwin? I know you as Bruiser. What do you want us
Make
to
up
call
your
you?
mind. Jesus Christ.
This is my real
Bruise
name.
up.
If you know me, whatever you know me as, call me whatever you know me as.
Well, I would like to call you what you would like me to call you. I don't,
Well, I mean, I did a rebranding. The reason why I was gone because I did a lot of rebranding, so it probably
Right.
makes sense
So,
to just call me by my name now.
Darwin, welcome to the panel, Darwin. It's good to have you here. Thanks so much for joining us. You haven't missed much. We've gone over the first question, which was, who were you before the missus? And before you get into that, congratulations. I know you just had a baby girl. Congratulations.
I had a baby boy. Another
Oh,
baby
I'm
boy.
sorry. A baby boy. Okay.
Yeah.
So who were you before the missus?
Who was I before the missus? I was in the streets, obviously. I mean,
Obviously.
I know, right?
I went through a lot of stuff, man, that kind of was luckily for her, I went through a lot of obstacles and challenges in life, a lot of setbacks in life that, made me, want to be compelled to get my life in order and get on the straightened path. So when it was time to meet her, it worked out for the both of us. So before her, I was this young guy. I think most would call it a womanizer. I was athletic. I'm a ball player. I'm still athletic and a ball player, and it was just easy for me. So I had and to put the icing on the cake, I had a motorcycle. I was in a motorcycle, so that, oh my God. So I got in a lot of trouble. I dodged a lot of bullets, literally. So I was a bad boy. I was the bad boy that a lot of women
Really in the street.
go for. And once I got straight, once I ran through this cycle of, getting my shit together, so to speak. I met her in college, and she just motivated me to want to be better, because I wanted not only to have the things I wanted in life, to get to the lifestyle I wanted, I also wanted to share it with her. So she was that motivating piece I was missing, that was going to just keep me in line. And I know a lot of guys that, I wouldn't say in this space, but in most spaces I've been invited to, they kind of say that a woman is not necessary to, or she doesn't have that much influence on a man. And I'm here to say that shit. My wife had a lot of influence on, a lot of the good things that happened for me. If it wasn't for her, man, I probably would have, what do they call it, backslide or whatever, or relapse or something. So that's who I was before, short and sweet. I don't want to hold up the conversation.
We appreciate that. Thank you so much. Welcome to the panel. Trigger Mike, how are you this evening?
I'm doing well. How are you? What's going on, fellas, and the lovely Precious? How y'all doing?
Doing good. We're doing good.
What up,
We're
Mike?
doing good.
What up? What up?
So I'm asking the fellas some questions. We don't have no supporting videos tonight. It's all y'all are all in the hot seat. Okay. If y'all want to ask some questions from the chat, please do so. But we had our first question, which was, who was Trigger Mike before the missus?
Oh, damn! I wish I'd have did the prep beforehand.
Oh, no prep tonight.
Oh man, no,
all real, off the
for real. In my area or whatever. So I was, you know what? Let me put it to you this way: I was a fake. I was a phony. All right. So anybody knows anything about me? I'm the eldest child in a Nigerian household. All right. So I was taught all the things you'd expect somebody like me was taught. My parents are extremely strict. They basically sheltered me my whole life. We didn't even talk about sex. There was no birds and the bees talk. My dad basically pointed at me and said, "You better not let any guy tell you not to wear condom." That was my birds and the bees, and I was like 19 at the time, so he was already too late. But when I went to college, I went off. I went off. Right. So what it really was that I became someone that I wanted to be. I was always a bit conversational. Um, but it kind of took off because the industry my dad and my uncle were in, I used that to kind of propel myself into a popular guy. So, they started to get money late. We were really poor when we got here to America, but when they did start to get money, I used it to my advantage. They own strip clubs. So I would throw parties in the strip clubs. I would throw parties at other venues. That's how I was known. Right. So and there was a point in college where I had 3 cars. I had a drop top, I had a Jaguar, I had a Maximo with black wheels, right? I was balling out. But that wasn't who I was to the core. I was really just trying to be the person I always wanted to be, the role I always wanted to play. And then when I moved to Houston, Texas, I think I was 26 years old. It was about 10 years ago last month. That really set things in perspective for me to say, okay, well, who am I going to be out here? This is a fresh start. And then when I was going out on dates, then more of the gentleman, the person I was raised to be, started to come out. And long story short, my then ex-girlfriend, now wife, basically gave me an ultimatum. She said, I really just chased you out here. She came to visit me, but she said, I want to get back in a relationship. I want it to be me and you. And I was just getting to a new city with more resources than I had ever had. And I made the decision to be who I was to my core. Yeah, let's get in this relationship. And obviously we ended up getting married from it. So yeah, before, who I was originally or before her was just a phony, just a dude out here trying to be cool, trying to smash all the chicks, doing that. But then, I got out the game when it was time. That's really it.
We learning some things about y'all tonight. We learning some things. R. Payne, welcome to the panel. How are you, sir?
Hey, how you doing, Precious? Thanks for letting me up.
Of
How you
course.
doing, fellas? How you guys doing?
What up, Chief?
Well,
Oh,
I heard
Payne,
some
what
of
up?
this. All right,
So
all right. I
what's
heard
going
some
on?
of the story. Hey, what's going on here? My journey is kind of like the same, maybe a little different, because I grew up in a house full of women, just like a lot of men. My father was still in the picture, but he couldn't raise me and my brother, because my mother died when I was 8. And so my aunt was my guardian, but it was just so many women in the house. My grandmother and her daughters were there. And it wasn't like it was crazy, but there was no way for me to expand. So when I was around 17, I got it in my head. I said, I gotta leave. I gotta leave. I gotta get out of here. I gotta go be around men. I gotta go see how men move. And it's not because this is a revelation now that I'm the age I am, but that's one of the reasons why I had to get out of there. It was like kind of lovingly unbearable, if you could put those two things together, right? And so when I went to college, I just started hanging out with the fellas, but I was never one of those wayward guys. I went into engineering, and that was back in the 70s. So I had to be on my dime right from the beginning. When I joined the frat, I took cues on how men move. And I had some girlfriends, but my dating life was pretty short because from 17 to maybe 26, by the time I was 26, I wanted to find a girl and get married. I had my job. I was an engineer. I said, I want to move up because all my, contemporaries I'm a baby boomer. A lot of us were married. So I just thought that was one of the things I had to do too, find a wife, get married. And for 6 months, I didn't fool around with anybody. But then I ran into my wife, and it was like, I think it was like spiritual because just the way it happened. I don't have to go through that story, but when I
Well,
met her, we got
we gonna get
engaged.
there. We gonna
We
get
got
there.
engaged
You
5
can't
months later.
escape that.
I said, what?
I said we gonna get there. You're not escaping that.
Yeah.
You're
So
not
yeah.
escaping that.
Yeah. So for 5 months we were married.
Wow.
And but in the 5 months we were courting, we talked about a lot of things
Mhm.
about marriage, what we would expect from each other. One of the things, I mean, I have some memorable things that when one day she was kind of upset because she said to me, I was trying to put my best foot forward, blah, blah. I said, I don't want to see your best foot forward. I want to know when your feet stink. I want to know if I want to be with you at your worst,
Right.
not when you over here trying to put on this facade, just be yourself and let's see how that works out. And it was one conversation. Another conversation was, and this is why I thought she was kind of a decent girl. She wasn't like a virgin, like nobody got one, even way back when, hardly anybody got one. She got in her mind, and I'm going to end it here. She was going to try to tell me about her old exploits. And she didn't say one word. And I knew where she was going. I said, stop right there. I don't want to hear none of that shit, man. I don't want to hear any of it. Don't worry about it.
What
I,
man
you know, I,
does?
I don't want to know nothing. Don't think you got to clear your soul. And I said, but I did say this. I said, if you learn some shit, I better get all the juicy tidbits and shit. I better get all that stuff. And then we just moved on and never talked about it again.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's it, man. We've been married for 36 years. It's, the chick still likes me. And I mean, here's one thing I'll let everybody know. I'm not no special cat, right? My wife does everything for me. She caters to me. She does everything for me. And it's 100% by her choice. It's not like I'm doing
Mm,
something special. That's what guys got to understand. Women choose to do what they want for you when they want to. Just like we should choose what we want to give them. So I don't take no freedom from her. She caters to me only because she wants to, and it's been that way. You just got to make sure you keep pressing the right buttons. Let me land it there.
yeah. And you say you didn't do anything special, but I mean, you married her, right? So
Yeah,
that's pretty
yeah.
special.
Yeah, I'm,
Uh,
I'm, I'm gonna get to that part as we go around because I think
okay.
men undersell what marriage really is. That is one of our last superpowers, and we underestimate how powerful that is when we ask a woman to marry.
Okay.
We, we,
Okay.
we we really do.
All
Okay.
right, before we get there, I wanted to ask you guys, and some of you touched on it a little bit, but how much was family an influence on you being married? Did you see it at home? Did you not see it at home? And you flipped the script and didn't follow that lead. How much of it was an influence for you? We'll start with King.
I grew up in the South, Alabama, Roll Tide, and
Roll Tide.
and a lot of my family were married. Now, personally, my mom, who's probably watching right now, and
Hey,
my
Mark.
mom and my dad got divorced a little bit, probably around about the time that I got married. That's when her and my dad were getting divorced. But I grew up, in a two-parent household. A good bit of my uncles and aunts were all married. So my perspective of what I saw was that you grew old and you got married. It's what you did, coming from the church and things like that. So when I was, like I said, asking my ex-wife to marry me, it was kind of coming from that thought. Was it right or wrong? Eh.
Okay. Okay. Hank, what about you? How influential was family when deciding to get married?
Well, it's one of those things, man. Uh, I got my ex-wife pregnant before we was able to get married, so it's one of those things they encouraged us to go ahead and do it early. Which I mean, we already planned, but and also she was worried about taking pictures of her belly looking real big in a wedding dress. So we ended up moving up from July to March. So that was an influence from her family more so than mine. My family, it wasn't no big deal because they had a couple aunts that was, had a baby out of wedlock. So it is what it is. But they married now, and so. But the thing about it, I guess, like currently is my position now about getting remarried. I guess I got my influence from my dad because you know, he ended up getting remarried to my stepmother. And so it gave me like, okay, well, you know, if his dude can do it, and I know he wasn't the best father for me all the time. Why can't I? Why can't I go out there and get back into the fight? You know, get back, join the fraternity again of married men. And so I decided to make that jump. And he was probably the most big influence. And he didn't even, never say anything to me about it. I just
Oh,
but on
wow.
outside looking in, you know, just paying attention. So
Okay. So, Hell, what about you? Um, how was family an influence in you getting married?
Yeah, so both good and bad. So uh, I wish I could say that I come from a generation, a line of successfully married people. And I think that seeing marriage and not seeing it, they both influence you just in different ways.
Mm.
I knew for me, I looked at how households were ran when there was a dad in there. And he didn't even have to be a great, wonderful husband and dad. He just had to be decent. I saw how much more structured kids were. And as a young boy who grew up whose father died at 5 years old, and I didn't have a father in the home, didn't have a father figure, I can't say that I saw a marriage that inspired me. I can say that I saw brokenness that inspired me not to do that. Right. So me seeing that and seeing how kids, a lot of them in the streets, like a lot of them I saw when dads died, them kids on the corner, they slinging dope, they not doing good in school. And when I was growing up, this was when we're in the 90s, we're talking about we got to get back family. It's when the Cosby Show was out, Different World, Family Matters, Mr. You know, we saw these shows, and I kept hearing that black men have left the black women, black men aren't there, black men don't want to be married. And then you started to see, influencers and successful, athletes marry white women. This is when I started to hear all the white women taking the good black men. Right. So it was all of those things that influenced me to say, I want to be part of the greater community, not having, fatherless children and crime and so on and so forth in the street. And as a kid, it was the brokenness that I saw and believing that marriage was the backbone of family and society that was the biggest influence on me wanting to get married.
Wow, thank you. How about for you, Mr. He said? How influential was family on you getting married?
It was incredibly influential. Not very different from Sir Hale. My format was a what not to do because
Okay.
I come from an unsavory environment as well, and just the inspiration of what could be, and me wanting to break the cycle, me wanting to be different. I come from, my mom, I lost her when I was 9 years old. I never had a dad, so reality got thrust to me really fast about having those unconditional loving people in your life. So I was raised by my grandmom and my aunt, and they were amazing people, but they didn't want to raise a child at that time, and it started to become evident in their behavior and their actions, and understandably so. But that's how I kind of learned the what not to do. And even from the good houses, because I'm not going to make it sound like Bed-Stuy was just this cantankerous place. It wasn't. It was families. It was curated. They had fathers, but again, like we sit in these spaces and talk to, even the houses with dads. Dad had a chair. He sat down and he was quiet. So, this perfect storm that has us sitting here now, even from the positive influences, I took the what not to do.
Mm.
Don't be like him. Don't take the belittling. Don't take the lack of education. Don't take the lack of valuing education, valuing family. And again, the possibilities of what I can do. Them being Southern, my family being, very Christian, pork and everything. Like, I completely did a 180. I gravitated to the Nation of Islam. I gravitated to a healthy diet. So, everything they did, it was a not for me, and that's how I curated my family. And in that, in combination with the sports, to bring that team aspect to it, it just started to become, again, a what not to do. And then, like Sir Hale said, TV, the Cosbys, Whitley and Dwayne, and all of the things that I proclaim, from Queen and Slim to any tandem, just showed me that a tandem is necessary. That even
Mhm.
Oscar and Felix coexisted. The kitchen was never dirty. The living room was never dirty. Oscar room was dirty. So if you're going to be dirty in your area, be dirty in your space, and we can still coexist. So I always knew that two people had to coexist with each other. And, I was lucky enough to find somebody that coexists, and it is super easy. But nonetheless, it was a what not to do formula for me as well, and an inspiration of entertainment and television.
That's good. So just like Sir Hill, you guys were able to, because a lot of people can't get out of the rut that they were born into, really. So, being able to turn it around and say, I don't want that. I'm going to go the other way is actually tougher than people think it is, because you're pretty much on your own trying to turn, the ship around. So we're going to drop down to Black Man Unfiltered. Thank you so much for being here, sir. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? What's up, fellas?
Good, good. So we're talking about marriage. I don't have no supporting clips tonight, Black Man Unfiltered, so don't think you're gonna see no videos. All y'all
All
on the
right, I
hot
got
seat
you.
tonight.
Got you.
Okay. We're talking about marriage, of course, and I'm asking, how much was family an influence on you when deciding to get married?
It was a great influence because I had to see my mom and dad, who are still married. It'll be 41 years this year on Christmas Day, 41 years. So I had an opportunity to watch them. I had an opportunity to watch my grandmother and my grandfather, 63 years married,
Wow.
before he passed away. God bless his soul. Um, and I used to watch my grandmother particularly because it's the way she used to serve him, right? She used to make sure he was taken care of, but he also took care of her. He was one of those men who would go out and work and bring the money to her and keep $5 and told her to put the money where it needs to be and allocate the money to where it goes.
Mm,
Um, and it's just the way she loved him back. It was very receptive. What he gave her, she made it and just gave it right back to him. And it was just a beautiful thing to watch. And I even remember watching, I think it's also healthy to see disagreements and
mhm.
also see how they heal from it. Because I remember they used to have these little arguments, little spats. And at night, they had a little couch beside the bed, and I would sleep on that couch, right? Because it was in the country. So I sleep on that couch, and I would hear my grandfather or my grandmother say, whichever one who felt like they wronged the other, I would hear them say, baby, earlier today, I know I raised my voice. I love you, and I'm sorry. Or vice versa, my grandfather, hey, baby, you know what? Today, I'm sorry that I said that to you. I shouldn't have
Mhm,
said that to you. We're going to get better. Okay, baby, I love you. And I hear a little, "Mwah," and they go to bed, right? And
mhm,
I used to say, dang, and as I got older, my grandmother would tell me, I do that. She said, we do that because we go by something that they read in the Bible. They never go to bed angry at each other. Right. And so that's one of the things I try to use now. So, yes, they were very influential watching my mom copy my grandmother basically with my dad. Um, it was very influential. So that's what I had to see growing up. It was amazing.
Thank you for that, and I think you were in my notes, but we're not gonna touch on that because 'cause
Okay.
we're gonna touch on it later, you know?
Okay.
So,
Black
Arpine, how
man, I
Huh?
was like,
how
black man, is he sure it's all he heard in the bedroom? Is it again?
Oh man. Oh man. Hey boy. Oh what? You know, man. Caught mom and dad a couple of times, boy. That was horrible. Yeah,
That's
man.
funny, man.
Woo.
Well, listen, you
Oh,
know what,
man.
Black Man Unfiltered, you said something about my grandmother and grandfather because he was in the house too. But when I got in there, we were a little older, so he was retired, but he used to give her the money. And my grandmother's old West Indian lady, so she just ruled the roost. But every so often, he would say, Vera, settle down, like that. She would just calm right on down.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the one thing, the joke about the big piece of chicken, that shit is
Mm,
true. We used to have Sunday dinner around the table. No matter how many people around the table, he got his plate first with the big piece of chicken and everything else. You know what I'm saying? All set up, and everybody else, whatever was left, we shared, around the table. And
Right.
that's Sunday kind of tradition I keep myself. And
mhm.
the other thing that you said, yeah, I cook on Sunday. So when my girls come back, I lay stuff out and all that stuff. But
You be in the
uh,
kitchen?
huh?
You be in the kitchen?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. First of all, it wasn't all good. I mean, it wasn't all just I should say saintly. I used to cook for the girls in college. I had that. That was one of my things. You know, I cooked for
They
them.
got home cooked meal in
Wait
the
a
dorm room.
minute.
Whoa.
Wait a minute.
Ain't had no
Yeah,
voodoo
They
chicken
man.
better
You
be
know what
in
I'm
the
wives. They
saying?
better
establishment.
be
I
wives
I
now.
was kind of betting them thousands a little
Had
bit,
them
you
pork
know.
chops.
So anyway, yeah, but it was just chicken gizzards. Yeah, I had no money, you know. I made chicken gizzards taste good, man. But anyway, the other thing you said
Gizzards.
about them making up with each other after little spats and stuff, I mean, I do that today. If me and my wife get into, and we don't really get into anything heavy, but if I think I took it a little too far, I always apologize. And at night, not now because it's off the air, we used to go to bed watching Seinfeld reruns.
Wow.
So we're in the bed, we're dying laughing before we go to sleep almost every night. And that beats watching the news and having all that negativity coming to you. Instead, we going to
Laughter is
bed
the best
laughing our
medicine.
asses off. You know, it's subtle, but I'm sure it makes a difference, right? You're just your demeanor is different. Everything else is different. So I mean, you know, those are little things that just kind of happen to keep you moving, trying to stay positive. Don't go to bed angry and all that kind of stuff. And we really, very rarely let anything linger, and that's a good thing. And my family had a lot to do with. Everybody in my family was kind of married. My aunts, my uncles, my brothers, my cousins. Everybody got married at least once.
Okay.
You
So you
know,
saw it
so
growing up.
yeah. So I saw it growing up.
Okay.
Let me land it there.
All right. Trigger Mike, how about for you? What was the influence of family on being married?
Damn. I guess I'm blessed,
Well, we know
man,
what your
because
father told you. We know what your father told. We know
yeah,
what your
but
Faja told you.
I mean, marriage and family, it's such a tradition that I never in my life saw any myself being anything else other than a
Mm,
married man and a father. That was my foremost duty. And you know, I've been told I sound a little robotic when talking
hmm.
about marriage, but I actually don't care
Yeah.
because I was very cerebral and strategic, and I always have been. That's the way I was taught to be. But then the interesting thing about it is I almost fell for it being raised here in the States. I almost fell for the Disney bug that marriage is about love, right? But it's only because I have been so cerebral and strategic that I actually have a chance to love my wife for life. Because all
Mm,
these people telling me to marry for love and all this stuff, they can't seem to keep their relationships together. Forget a marriage. So I was always very cerebral. Even the girls I was, trying to date and play around with, for some reason there was a lack of ability to take them serious enough for the institution of marriage. So I knew that I always took a liking to the more feminine, the women who are soft and feminine on purpose, and they lead with that. And it's not that they're trying to show you um anything or be a fake person. It's just who they were. I've always gravitated toward that type of woman, and that was an example for me from my mother. An example of what a man could be was from my father. I said this the other day, and I meant it. I think I said it on She Critique. The greatest conversation ever had between a dad and a son, the conversation between a dad and the son about the type of husband and father you need to be, is the greatest conversation ever had without words. My dad never really
mm,
said anything. He just showed me. I watch how he reacted, good and bad. Right? I watched when he got up to go to work when he didn't want to. I got when he came home and they gave him the big piece of chicken. And in our house, it's fufu, with stew and all of that. But still, my dad owned when he owned a nightclub, a strip club. This dude came home at 3 in the morning, and guess who woke up to make him hot fufu? My mother, right? So I watched
mm.
this institution and the way it's supposed to be done. So I'm very blessed. I'm very privileged to have had that happen for me, and hopefully I can share that with others. But I never in my life, when you see me, all that I am, I was made this way. I was purpose built for this, and this is who I always knew I would be. And I was playing around a little bit for a while because in our ranks 26, and I'm single. My dad he was about to jump on my head, but he would always say, listen, you're the eldest. What you
Mm,
do, they're gonna do. I got 3 siblings. Not 1 year had passed after my wedding that my brother got engaged. So he was 100% right. And I had to keep setting that example. My brother has to keep setting that example for our younger cousins, so on and so forth.
Nice, nice. All righty. Darwin, how about you? How was the family influence for you upon getting married?
Well, for me, I had a fatherless experience, so the
You
influence
said
was kind of
fatherless?
yeah. I had a fatherless experience as a young man, so I didn't witness the marriage dynamic that you probably need to witness in order to have a correct or proper picture painted of what you need to do as a man in a relationship. Um, so it was more like a negative reinforcement for me.
Mhm.
So without a father, I was pushed. I had a motivation to be a father because that's not what I had. So I guess I don't want to say gift and a curse, but I guess it worked out.
Mhm.
And for her, she had a family. She had a mother and father who was married. They're still married today. They've been married for over 30 years. And she witnessed what do they call it? The family patriarch from her
Right.
parents. So she had the wifey qualities. They were instilled in her from her mother and her father. So she got that energy from fear of disappointment. So that's what allows her to thrive in the marriage, our marriage. And I get my energy from a fear of it not working out for the kids. You
Mm.
get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
So
see how it
those
comes
two
full
things
circle.
I think those two things are really compatible.
Yeah.
Because those fears allows us to be like, "Hey, look, we got to stick this through, man. We got to work through it. We might have agreements, but if it failed for you, your parents are gonna be like, "What? We just showed you 30 years of success. What the hell are you doing?" And then me, it's
Mm.
like I'm looking at my little sons, like, "Damn, bro." Like, they grow up and like, "Damn, where'd you drop the ball at, pops?"
Yeah.
So that's what does it for me. That's the influence for me.
Thank you for sharing it. Ricky, how about for you? What was the family influence upon getting married for you?
My
I know
my
you kind of spoke on it a
yeah
little bit earlier.
yeah. My family had nothing to do with me getting married. I took
Mm.
cues of what not to do from them. Like, don't do
Mhm.
that. Don't don't do that. Like I said, um, my family didn't like my wife starting out. I don't care. I didn't care. I still don't care to this day.
Mm.
Right.
Mhm.
Like I said, what I saw when I was growing up was from families outside of my own. I had two families that I had reference to. Our neighbors, Carrie and Kenny, they had a mom and dad, and you go over there and they had the Nintendos. Dinner was cooked at 5. You know what I'm saying? Just a good. It was always the experience was always consistent.
Mhm.
It was a consistent experience. My friend Terrence, my best friend Terrence, it, it it was a consistent experience. It wasn't up and down a bunch of wild stuff, and you saw how the houses was ran. It was an understanding between the mother and the father that everybody has their roles to get stuff done. You know what I mean? And plus, it's not just that. You saw the love that was there,
Right.
right? How the both parents work, right? So when I did see him, especially my best friend Terrence, whenever they see each other, they kissing and hugging each other. Hey baby boo, how you doing? Just beautiful stuff, right? And I'm sitting there wondering like why this not going on at my house? What happened with my mom and
Mm.
dad? Better yet, why my I mean, why you why step what like my stepfather that was he wasn't really my stepfather because they never got married. But there you go. You see what
Mm.
I'm saying?
Right.
So like I said, I just honestly believe, like I said, they never had nothing to do with it. And I picked a woman that was for me, not for nobody else. I don't care what you think about my wife. It's not your business.
Mhm.
It's not your business. I know what she does for me. My family ain't got nothing to do with it. Y'all ain't got nothing to say on her. Y'all ain't got you don't like it, look away. I don't care. I don't
Okay.
care. My wife's amazing to me. To me. You can hate her stinking guts, but she's amazing to me. She ain't got to impress none of y'all.
Thanks. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you guys. Y'all being hot tonight. I'm sweating. I need to turn on the air. I turned it off because I was cold. Now I'm getting hot. Because you guys are being honest, open, and transparent. And I think that everyone needs to see this. They need to witness it to know that it is real. Everyone doesn't come from the same background. Everyone doesn't come from the same walk of life. However, you guys have reached a place where you can turn your story into a testimony for other people to say, I didn't have a mom and dad either, but it's possible. I can turn from this and actually go in a different direction. So I wanted to ask you guys, when you signed up for love, did you know what you were signing up for at the time? And if when you answer that question, let us know again the ages that you met your wife. When you signed up to be with her, did you know what you were signing up for? Or did you just know you wanted to be with someone? We'll start with Sir Hill.
I'm just trying to get some. I'm not even going to play with y'all. I'm not even going to play with y'all. This was not a decision that I made because I'm thinking about the next 20, 30 years.
Come on.
I mean,
okay,
if I'm being honest, I was a virgin. I was, I was taught to abstain and wait till marriage. I wasn't doing nothing. Listen, I didn't want the rapture to happen and I'll go to heaven and I ain't got no coochie on there. I don't want it to happen. So that was part of the reason for me getting it. But no. So I ended up meeting my wife, and I won't say it was necessarily love at first sight, but I will say I knew what I wanted in life. I told my wife when I met her at 18 years old that there's going to come a day where we're going to be helping a lot of people in marriage, and it's going to be very difficult. Are you in for the ride? If you ask her today, I told her this at 18 years old. It has been exactly 18 years to the day that I told her that, and we're on this podcast with the Real Precious talking about marriage and relationships. So
what do you know what today is?
Yeah,
Is
so
it the anniversary?
Yep, so
it's the
funny. I met her.
Anniversary. You threw down the law.
Yep. And what's funny is she said, "Yeah, I'll do it." And I said, "Listen, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard." I'm like, "What? I'm 18. Like I'm talking like I know something. I'm talking like I got gray hairs and I don't know." But I knew what it was going to take. And my wife said, "I'm in for the ride." And my wife wasn't the quiet, sweet. She wasn't that. It's funny. I thought I needed that initially, but you have to have a tough wife in this business. Because with the amount of pressure and the jabs and the attacks that happen, you can't have a wife that falters under pressure. You got to have a wife that's strong to lift you up spiritually and mentally and keep you inspired. And me seeing that strength in her, I knew I had a friend. And so when I met her, I wasn't looking for a wife. I was looking for a friend. And in developing a friendship, I found that my friend was my wife. And so that's part of my story.
Okay. We're gonna go to Black Man Unfiltered next. I just have a feeling in my spirit.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off my brother from another mother up there. Sir Hill Speaks. We was trying to tear that thing up, trying to get back it up. But again, it's just about those family values that I spoke about my mom and dad. I wanted what I saw. And
but did you know what you were signing up for? You wanted what you saw, but did you know what you were signing up for?
Yes, because when I signed up for it, I knew what would come with it because I've seen it. Right? When you've been in it and you've seen it, when you sign up for it, you're like, okay, I'm about to do what the men before me have done, right? And I know there's going to be some hard times, there's some good times. So I wasn't raised with a silver spoon to understand that everything was going to be good, right? I knew it was going to be good, bad, ugly. And so when I signed up for it, I knew that. And we have gone through that, right? We just celebrated our anniversary on the 21st.
Happy anniversary.
And so I knew what was coming. I knew that it was going to be hard times, good times, bad times, misunderstandings. I knew those things were coming. And so I was prepared for them a little bit. Now, some things caught me off guard, especially when it comes to parenting. And that caught me off. But, because it's just too many personalities up in here. But other than that, I knew what I signed up for. I love my wife because she was so much different than everybody else. I'm with you, Ricky. I had some people in my family, I didn't meet like my mom. My mom and dad was good, everybody good. But I had some family members that did not like my wife because my wife would tell them, they would try to tell my wife stuff or go to my wife and say, hey, let me tell you what he did. She said, I'm not trying to hear that. She didn't want to be a part of nothing I did back then. She said, if he want me to know anything, he'll tell me. And I think, they didn't like her because of that, but I'm with you, Ricky. I don't care. But so that's how I knew what I signed up for. I love my wife. We had an amazing anniversary this past week. And we renewed our vows on the beaches of Jamaica.
Congrats, bro.
Jamaica. He
Congrats,
was
bro.
off
what
the
I'm saying?
grid, off the grid.
Man, yeah, we went on the beach and renewed our vows, and we looked at each other and we told each other, hey, listen, let's do this for another 100 years. If we make it that long, damn it, let's do it. And she said what she said to me. I said what I said to her, man, and we just locked in right now. It's just amazing right now. So, I knew what I signed up for, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
All right, we're gonna jump up to Mr. He said, did you know what you were signing up for? Did you know?
Honestly, Precious, no. I was 23 years old. I had no idea what I was signing up for, but I did know I was willing to show up every day, kind of like a job. I
Mhm.
didn't know. I didn't know what it entailed. I didn't know, you know, the different changes that a mature woman goes through. But I know that it's a roller coaster ride. I know that again, the team aspect of it is what I was ready for. I was ready to be able to aspire to something greater than myself and do it, with other people and put that
Mhm.
collective goal in mind. And that's having a family, having successful children. So, but I didn't know what I was signing up for as far as the individual wife that I was getting because she goes through changes, life goes through changes, our family goes through changes, and these transitions, come with nuances. And
Mhm.
I think that's what made me a Tuesday, Wednesday thinker.
Mm.
She proposed to me and I wasn't ready
Oh,
at that
wow.
that particular time. Like she walked up to me in the nightclub. Again, all of these things were initiated on me. So I had to take a self-reflection because it wasn't just me anymore. When I take on this responsibility and what Sir Hale was alluding to, that's what it was for me. It was that responsibility that made me a man, knowing it was no longer about me. Again in sports, when you are the best player on your team, you're referred to as the man. So again, being the man comes with responsibilities. And
Mhm.
again, you are the face when you win, you are the blame when you lose. And I knew it came with all of that, but the specific woman that I was dealing with, I didn't know who she was going to be, but she ended up to be inspirational, motivational, and so many other positive words that, it was absolutely the best decision that I ever made in my life.
Okay. All right. Um, the actual King Smith. When you signed up for love, did you know what you were signing up for at the time?
No, more specifically, on the way to ask my now ex-wife to marry me, I stopped about halfway because where she lived and where I was stationed at was about a 2-hour difference. I drove about halfway. I stopped and I called my dad and I asked my dad, I say, "Hey, Pops, I'm thinking about asking my ex-wife to marry me. Should I do it?" And his exact answer to me was, "You're a grown man, son. That is for you to decide." Okay.
Mm.
Now, I bring that story up because did I know then what I was signing up for? No. As a 39-year-old, almost 40, if I were to go down that path again, I'm not calling my father and asking him. That's a decision that I would make solely on my own. And I think I know now what I would sign up for if I were to do it again.
Mm. Okay. Mr. Hank, how about for you? Did you know what you were signing up for at the time when you said I did?
I know what I was signed up for. Yeah, unfortunately.
Mhm.
I mean, I knew my ex had some things in the family that I didn't totally agree with, but I said I'm not marrying a family, I'm marrying her. And so that's how I rocked with it. And that's how I did it. So it's That's the story of that situation. Now, I know
Mm.
somebody asked a question in the chat. What made me want to do it again? Well, I tell you this: when I first got divorced in 2016, I was one of those guys who raged. I told the story before, who raged out, who's like, "Man, to hell with marriage. I'm not doing this no more." I guess kind of like what took King's approach. I'm not doing it again, and it took some therapy, a couple years of therapy, in order to get me in that right mindset to even be open to do it again. But I was willing to open to do it again. I just had to make sure I had to do better vetting, better research, and make sure whatever my standards is, I got to hold to it and not waver from it, regardless. So that's what made me want to do it, because I was able to blessed to find a woman who's going to meet those things that I'm asking for and to live to the standards that I'm requiring. And I said, well, let's rock out. Let's do this. So
Okay. We'll go down to Trigger Mike. Did you know what you were signing up for when you said I do?
Absolutely. The worst part is let me go a little different. I was too prepared. And
What does
not
that
only
look
was I
like?
too prepared, that's actually not a good thing, because if depending on who you marry, you have the unfortunate occurrence where you can exasperate your partner with all you know. Right? You could be a little too matter of fact about everything. And that was me at the beginning. So this is the way it's supposed to go. Don't worry, this is normal. So the bad part is that I didn't realize that I was bringing my wife along. There's a lot of, just as everybody said, they come from different walks of life. You should see her father now. He wasn't in the picture at first. He was a unfortunate person who got involved in the crack epidemic. Took himself a long time to get turned around, but he's a pastor now. Takes care of his family, is probably, I don't know, probably on a scale, people say, oh no, grandparents, grandparent. He's probably a little up there on the grandparents. He's going for #1 grandparent award of the year. But yeah, so she was battling with those things, and I didn't realize that you have to do a job with your companion to not only help them understand marriage, but not bulldoze them with all you know in comparison or versus what they know. It's really taking the ride along with them to develop how your journey is supposed to go. So I had to really tone down a lot of that about myself. Yes, would it have been different if I married somebody who grew up in like a Nigerian household the same as I did? That's when I probably would have maybe had the benefit of not being the way my father was. But no, I made my choice, right? This is somebody who needs to have a little more finesse with it, have a little bit of softer touch, and I had to change my approach and do that. So I knew a little too much going in, and when I say too much, I'm a little bit what you call stoic in the marriage. You give me things that I'm supposed to understand, I'm going to give you logic every time. Logic is not always the way you approach your wife. It's not always the way to smooth over every situation, right? That's something I learned. It's something I watch. So I had to be somebody who listened more, right? At least give the appearance that I'm open to hearing suggestions on family decisions. So yeah, it was a journey for me. Sometimes you can actually know too much to the point where you're rigid and you don't want to adapt. So I had to become a little bit more adaptable to make it work.
That's an interesting perspective. You felt as though you knew too much about marriage.
Yeah.
All right. I'll hop over to Ricky. You know, what were the signs? How did you know what you were signing up for at that time?
Exactly what I was signing up for. That's why I be telling you, ain't no excuses. Everybody want to use excuses. Ain't no excuses. When you ask, you know exactly what it is. You know exactly what it is. As if you want to be true to it. As if you want to be true to it. I knew, like, I was married before, or I call it married. It's really like a annulment. We wasn't even married 6 months. It was in and out. You know what I mean? And at that point, like, I really didn't compromise. Like, she was a good woman, but I wasn't in the space I needed to be. I realized that later in life, right? But when I met my wife, like the first thing, and I tell everybody this, we was friends before we was anything. We was friends before sex or a relationship or commitment. We was friends before we was anything. And when we talked and we sat and we talked and we hung out and I got to see how she reacted to things and she saw how I reacted to things, it made it real easy. Right? Not the marriage, because y'all don't understand. Like, y'all irritating too. Right? You and your mate is irritating. Anybody you're around all the time is going to irritate you at one time or another. Right? You wear your underwear, get up in your butt and your nuts be sweating, they irritate you, right? It's the same with people. Right? But when I saw how she reacted to things and how she handled certain situations, especially when times got hot, I knew she one of them ones. And I believe in God only bless men with about 3 good women in your life. So don't be stupid. You know what I'm saying? Don't be stupid. Hopefully one of them is your mama.
Hopefully.
Right. So I just knew she just a woman, like I be talking about it here. Men and women know. I don't know why people try to play like this is so, like, it's such a foreign idea. You know a lady when you see one.
Yeah.
You know a lady by the way she carry herself, by the way she smile, by the way she light up a room when she walk in. You know a lady when you see one. She's a lady. Always has been. So I knew exactly where I was getting to. I knew the road ain't going to be perfect. Everything's not going to go your way, but that's why it's called a marriage. Right? I tell y'all, like I told y'all before, I wouldn't trade my old lady for none of y'all. None of you. Y'all can't fill her shoes.
That's right. All right, we're going to jump over to our pain, and then we're going to end this question with Don.
All right. And listen, my not only was I ready, I was looking for a wife. That's why I stopped dating for a while. Because I wanted my head to be clear. That means not dating, no sex, no nothing. I was just, if I talked to a lady and she wanted to go out, but I knew she wasn't going to be somebody I wanted to pursue anything with, I just didn't do it. I just didn't do it. So when I met my wife and fiance at the time, or girl, we went out a couple of times. And I asked, I said, listen, what do you want to do? Because I said, I don't need another girlfriend. Are we going to be, trying to build to something? And that wasn't my proposal. I think I was a little bit more eloquent when I did it. But it was more like, do you want something serious or you just want to play around? But she was, her disposition was exactly what I was looking for. She was pleasant, and, she was her own lady. I mean, she's college educated and all that kind of stuff, but she was still living at home. She was still living at home. So when we, courted some more, I don't think we had like a real relationship. I think we just went right into courting each other, trying to find out about each other. Then I asked her father for a hand in marriage. So I went to him and I said, listen, I want to marry your daughter, And he said, yeah. And he said, listen, all I'm gonna give it to you in one piece, just bring her back in one piece. And his name is Mr. Powell. I said, listen, man, she ain't coming back. She ain't coming back. And so they actually paid for my wedding. They paid for a big wedding. They paid for everything, man. I'm saying, listen, and I got 2 girls now, and I feel obligated. They have to get married. I'm gonna have to come out of this woodworks and find a way to pay for it. But yeah, so we've been, we've had I don't even want to say we had real down periods. We had growth periods on how we had to, as we were married. So I kind of knew. And so it was easy for me to ask her, and specifically her, to be my wife, And that's the superpower I think we have. Now, Mr. Hesef said his wife asked him, but and I don't know if that was the way it ended, but for the most part, men, ask their women, you know.
Hell no, Pain. I wasn't saying yes to that.
Okay, there you go. There you go. I hear you. Yeah, that was clear, right? So what I'm saying is, I look at, I want to digress off into that, but that's our last superpower, because we're telling that woman that we're going to sacrifice everything we have for you. And I don't think enough men let that be known, and especially if you've fallen in love with a cloud of just love over your face and not practicality and all that other kind of stuff that you need to have. Knowing that you're crossing over into this Rubicon that is going to cost you everything, you know? So, yeah, I was ready. Let me just leave it there. You know, we'll talk about some. I was ready. And so we're still married.
Darwin, how about you? When you signed up for love, did you know what you were signing up for?
Yeah, I knew what I was signing up for. I was 30 years old. I knew that no matter the state of the woman, I had the ability to mold her into what I wanted. I had the ability to influence her to be a helpmeet. So I just had enough, knowledge and power to be able to do that. And I would say it's because I knew what my purpose was. I was on my purpose. I knew what the end goal was, and I was able to articulate that to any woman that was able to accept what I had to offer. And so long as it intersected or aligned with what she wanted, and it was a GG. So once I figured out she was willing to be an asset, not a liability, it was game over. Once I knew that she was willing to relocate, if she was on a career path, she was even willing to change her career to be a complement, in case in the future we wanted to go into business. She was willing to do that for me because she trusted in me and she saw my plan and she saw what I was able to, the direction I was going, and she was like, okay, look, I want to follow this man. This is giving me a resemblance of, where I came from. So it just made things much easier. Yeah, that's my 2 cents on that.
All right, y'all. I got a trivia question for you to lighten it up a little bit before we get into some more talk. Okay, y'all. I'm telling you, y'all are on a hot seat tonight. All right. 3 questions for you. It's trivia. How well do you know your lady? All right. Now, if they watching and you get it wrong, don't blame me. Okay. So the first question is, what is her favorite fragrance? Do you guys and this y'all see y'all faces. I can't wait to watch the replay. I can't wait.
Can't know my current ladies.
Because we got to make sure that you guys know this. And if you don't, you will tonight. Okay. So what is her favorite fragrance? Whoever wants to go first.
Me. Mine doesn't wear any fragrances. That's too easy. That's too easy.
Yeah, mine doesn't either.
No fragrances?
Nope.
Y'all let me know in the chat.
I was gonna say it. People won't believe it, but it's literally whatever I buy her. That's her favorite fragrance. So she doesn't. My mom, I think she said she hadn't bought. She bought all the usual ones, the flower bombs and all that. And then for a while, I don't know, she just was working into work, so she do body spray, all that nice stuff. And then I noticed she didn't have anything. And my mom is a big gifter. She spends money for no reason, right? And just say, I'm gonna give it to my children. So she was just glad to dump all this stuff off on my wife. And I noticed she had used all her perfumes that my mom had gave her. And while I was buying some cologne one day, I literally kind of, smelled a woman who was trying it on. I was like, damn, that'd be dope if my wife would wear that. That joint smell good. That probably smell good coming off her skin. And she wear now. It's just a custom. Everything smells good to her. If it smells a little light, I think she likes the more acidic, fruity scents. And some people like the naturey one. No, she likes the light.
And
exactly. So she be like, "This is great." I be like, "Okay." So she wears whatever I buy.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else want to take a stab at it?
Yep. So my wife, we just actually went to the mall a couple of days ago, and there was so she doesn't have a favorite, but she does have a
Okay.
type. So it's
Okay.
light, it's a really light, fresh kind of smell. We went to a Dolce and Gabbana, and she just
Mhm.
went through and just started smelling different things. So if it's a nice light smell and it says for women, that's her favorite. As a
Right.
matter of fact, this is a real story. Like when we get expensive perfume, her response is always, I just want to get this because this is my favorite one. So I say that to say her favorite depends on how much it is and how frequent we're buying perfume.
Okay. All right.
Uh,
So, oh, I'm sorry. Who else wants to go? Is it Black Man Unfiltered?
no, no, no. I was just gonna say, it's pretty much like anything that smells good, but her number
Mhm.
one favorite that she uses all the time is a Libre Saint Laurent. Like that's her go-to. However, anything that smells good, she'll buy it. I mean, I'll get it for her, or she'll pick it up while she's in the mall or wherever she is.
I've never smelled that before, but I heard it smells really good. Is that the one in the black bottle? I think.
Mm-hmm.
Is it
Little
in a black
gold,
bottle?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've heard of that one.
It
All right.
smells
Anybody
real
else
good.
want to take a stab at it?
I take a stab at it. The missus
Okay.
likes light coconutty smells. Coconut, I believe, is one of her favorites.
She
And
wants to like
one
this.
time, some Michael Kors fell off a truck in the sty, and I got it from one of my guys. And yeah,
I love
He
that.
fell off the
she
truck.
kind of
Oh,
like that.
Fell off
oh,
the truck,
okay.
I'm gonna go with that. But she likes coconut, anything light,
That's good,
nutty,
man.
earthy. That's pretty much her go-to, but not one that has a particular favorite or is, one that goes crazy over expensive perfumes. She'll
Yeah,
try
my
to
girl.
compliment whatever she wears.
Yeah, my girl
Gotcha.
don't wear no fancy stuff. I think the fanciest stuff I ever seen her wear is like some Sean John Unforgiven for women. But
Mm.
she likes stuff from like Bath and Body Works, the bath washes and stuff like that.
Mhm.
It's all depending on what catch her fancy at that time.
Okay. Okay. All right. So we're gonna move on from the
No,
fragrances. Oh, I'm sorry. My bad, y'all. Go ahead.
my wife, she like whatever I spray on her.
Okay.
No,
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
You know
I'm
what?
just
See,
kidding.
I didn't even get it at first.
Okay, Darwin.
Yeah.
No, but nah.
Obviously, she done pop one out. Another
And we
one.
got 2 kids, so I've been
Another
spraying.
one.
But anyways, she is this bottle I always see under the sink when she get ready. It's like it's a glass clear bottle, and it's got a flower on the top of it as the top.
Mhm.
It's a white flower. I don't know what kind of perfume that is, but that's the one that she always wear. And
That might be
she
Elizabeth Taylor, man.
I don't know
With the
what it
flower
is.
on top.
She might be a feminist or something, but
White
regardless of
diamond,
what that show
that
is,
white diamond.
he
That's your
he's
grandma's
always
favorite.
running late and behind. So whenever she's getting ready, I'm in the truck. So I really never get to see what she's spraying on
Gotcha. Well, you
because
better go
she's
in
always
peace.
behind trying to get ready. You know how women are. I'll be there in 5 minutes and it'd be 30 minutes. She had to knock on the door and ask, and get up, unlock the door, and I'm in that bitch. So
All
yeah.
right. Well, next time go in peak. See what she like, and then one day just surprise her
My,
with it.
my lady just texted me.
Oh, ooh.
Yeah.
She said, "I'm gonna get him on a hotline because you ain't about to be up here not
She
knowing."
texted me. And she
Communication is
said,
important.
yeah,
Okay.
warm
If you don't
vanilla
know, he gonna know
sugar.
now.
Yeah, from Bath and Body Works.
Okay. Which one? Which one?
Warm vanilla sugar.
Ooh,
Y'all
warm
telling
vanilla
y'all, hey,
sugar.
y'all telling y'all tax brackets with these perfumes.
No, that's from Bath and Body Works. I don't think it's too expensive, brother.
Thank you. Thank you for
There
that.
are some. I
It
like
broke me
the
and get
oil
love
mist.
too. Broke me and get love too.
That's right.
They have some oil based fragrances there that are really good. I don't like all of their fragrances, but there's a couple that I like. I'm the One, I think, is one that they discontinued that I really like. I gotta look online for that one. And they have another one, Dahlia, Dahlia, which is a good one too. It's a oil based perfume. So a couple of them there, are
What you
all
what
right.
you
Their
uh
candles are good too. But
what
my
you
other
wear
ones
real
are
pressure?
Gucci Bloom and J'adore by Dior.
I thought you was a Japanese cherry blossom, or one of them women
Oh
who
no,
burn the incense and just.
no.
I was quiet on this one though, but my wife likes those bed and bathroom stuff too, lavender, sandalwood, those kind of.
Yeah,
Bed and
because they're probably
bathroom.
going
Do
there
you
for the
want to
candles. They're probably going there
Bed
for
and
the
bathroom.
candles.
Whatever
bed
it is,
and
yeah, that's
bathroom?
what I call it.
So what she wearing?
Did
Pine
you say
Sol?
bed and
Just
bathroom?
You went bed, that was bed and bathroom, and bed and bathroom and beyond, or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah,
Pine Sol and just
hey,
go.
bed and bathroom.
She like that. She like that Glade air freshener. That's what she like.
The all
said,
base
"Damn,
Glade.
that
That's
bitch
it.
They said the bathroom.
Okay,
You smell
man,
like
I tell you how
That's
much I
right.
know, man.
Yeah, she's
That's
skinny.
I
Yeah,
should have
use
kept my mouth
Windex.
shut.
Yeah, Windex.
I should have kept my mouth shut.
You gotta put some Lysol on that joint.
Lysol on that thing, boy.
Hey, the fresh
Oh,
linen
my
one is
God.
good. The fresh linen is good.
All right,
Bad
so
body
another
and
one.
bathroom. Wow.
What is her dream vacation? Is there a dream vacation? What would be her dream vacation? Do y'all know this?
Yep.
This one.
All right,
Yep.
now I know y'all
It
know.
doesn't
But
matter.
she gonna let you know where she want to get away to.
I just
It
got
doesn't
that.
matter. We're not going.
You
She
said you're
went
not going? Okay,
We're
so
not
Black Men
going.
Unfiltered just got back, so it's Jamaica, right?
Yep, hers
Jamaica
was
is
Jamaica.
beautiful.
For sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
who's next?
My
We did Hawaii on my bucket list. We went first class to Hawaii and back.
Ooh, and y'all went.
Oh, he had to make up for that
So you checked
bathroom.
it
That's
off?
what,
Yeah. Trig, yeah, to make up for that.
Hold on, wait. Hey, did somebody say they wife dream is to go to Jamaica?
yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
me.
they're
My
what,
wife- my
what's
wife-
their
my
Whatever
wife-
you do, don't let her get on
dream
them- don't let her-
vacation?
Don't let her get on them rafts with the boys that be
Rubbing on the booty.
Oh no.
The clay rubbers.
We just got back too, bro. We just got
Wait,
back.
the what rubbers?
No,
What they calling it now?
They're
No,
the
they
rafts
rubbing
where
clay.
the guys be rubbing the clay on the girl's booty. I don't know
they
how
take it
women
all
feel
in.
comfortable enough to do
Yeah,
that.
ain't none of that happening.
They
bro.
hoe.
I wouldn't be on camera right now.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I got
No.
married in
Let
Jamaica,
me
bro.
rub those cheeks.
Oh, you
My
got
wife
married in
was
Jamaica?
gone.
Trigger Mike?
Yeah.
You got married in Jamaica?
Lot of
Sure
mercy.
did. And my wife didn't leave my sight for more than 3 minutes at a time.
No, that's right.
That must have been some fast clay rubbing.
Yep.
you
So
better
what's
Courtney,
her
because he
dream
like me.
vacation?
Well, all they need is 2 minutes.
So I don't know. We're never going. But it's Bali. I don't
Dude,
know.
stupid, bro.
I don't know what people have with 24-hour like flight. Those long flight times. I'm never
It
doing.
takes
that.
24
Never.
hours to get there in
No,
the
it's like literally the other end of the world. For me,
yeah.
We're not
Yeah.
going. She can go by herself.
Okay, so we got Bali
What was that at?
and
Bali
Bali.
is in
That's her
Indonesia.
dream vacation.
Oh, okay. I heard you now. Okay.
Well,
All right, Darwin.
Okay.
What's her
Well,
dream
since we-
vacation?
Since we got a 1-year-old and a 1-month-old, her dream vacation changed. So
Damn,
it's
boy,
right
you
now.
have been busy.
It's currently the Disney cruise, whatever they call it.
Aw.
Oh, okay.
And you're gonna make the dream come true. So
That boy got
Ricky?
Irish twins. He thought he was gonna speed past that.
That
Yeah,
Royal Caribbean. Yeah, I think that's what their Disney cruise on.
Listen to
It's
the
gonna be-
doctors, Darwin. Listen to the
It's gonna
doctors.
be this is gonna be our next major trip. She wants to do a cruise through the Hawaiian Islands, so that's where we going next. So
okay. Nice cruise. There's a lot to do on the
Yeah.
cruises.
yeah,
All right.
7-day cruise through Hawaii.
King, how about you?
Well,
Dream vacation.
I thought I knew the answer. I thought it was Greece, and I texted her
Come with me.
to see if that was the answer, and she
Uh,
said yes
why you
and
cheating?
no. She said that while Greece is a place that she definitely would love to live, it's not her dream vacation. Her answer was wherever I'm at, that's her dream vacation.
Oh, come on.
I'm
Aww.
sis.
But you know
Good
you don't
sis.
mean that. Dude.
I'm in it.
Sis.
Oh.
She just be lying to you for no reason.
You know,
Huh?
you know you don't mean that.
No
I'm
reason.
gonna
Just
do
be lying
that.
to you for no reason, huh?
Just
Just-
lying.
Is it almost her birthday? Is that what this is?
It's almost
You
her
wanna
birthday.
get-
Yeah.
That's
That's
one of them
the
answers
bad.
you give when you know
what
you
she
can't
want for
afford to
real,
take it.
right? What she want for real?
When you know your man can't afford to take you there, wherever you want to be, baby.
Wherever you are, baby.
She a player
We
for
could be on
the
our private
Himalayas.
cruisers.
Yep.
We
She
can do
said
high
that
five
it's
at
not.
Kroger's. I don't
She
care.
said that it's not about the location, but an experience, and she knows that anywhere we go will be an experience. That's literally what she just texted me.
That's so sweet.
It is sweet.
At a certain hour, a dream vacation might be to the supermarket to get some food. I'm just
She
saying.
lying.
Corral it
At
is.
a certain hour, okay? That might be the dream.
Who said Golden Corral? Wait a minute.
That might be the dream at a certain
Game,
hour.
recognized game, and you looking kind of unfamiliar right now.
All right.
Oh my God.
Did
Wherever
everybody
you are, bro.
name the vacation?
Oh, I did. I guess mine will be wherever I decide we're gonna go on a honeymoon. It's gonna be the
Okay.
vacation spot.
It's gonna be a surprise honeymoon, ain't? Surprise
Uh,
honeymoon destination? Are you?
no. We definitely gonna talk because I'm all about budgeting, baby.
I
I'm
know
all
that's
about
right.
budgeting. So yeah, no, it won't be no secret. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna iron that thing out.
You got all them collectibles behind him. That's why you got a budget.
It's the motherland for the missus. The missus want to go to the motherland, Ghana.
Yes.
We actually plan on, within the next 4 to 5 years, that being our permanent vacation. So
Ooh.
that's the plan.
Nice.
Okay.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
telling you, we learning some
Mr.
things
He
about y'all
said,
tonight.
in the motherland.
For real,
That's
going
wonderful, man.
back. Okay. And Sir Harold, did you go?
No, but yeah, my wife is similar to. And listen, y'all better not roast me. I'm roasting y'all back. My wife is the same way. It's baby, wherever you're at, I want that to be a vacation. That black man, I hear it coming. That's what she said. So, but I do know a couple places she wants to go. It's Disney World and I think Disney World, and then she wants to go to Hawaii as well.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Let me take her to Golden Corral
You did
real
good,
quick.
sir. At the end, brother, you did good. Okay.
The last one would be, what is her favorite snack? Now I know if y'all don't get that right. Now, and I know Darwin, she doesn't have a baby, so she could have a few of them.
My wife like them damn
in the
pistachios.
span of 9 months. But what's her favorite snack? What'd you say,
Pistachios.
black man?
Pistachios. Oh my
wow,
God. I'm so tired of that damn black bag.
Really?
Oh my God. She love them. I don't
They're
know
actually
why.
supposed to be good for you though, right?
Yeah, I
Pistachios?
guess. But she be eating them things like damn rat, like a rat.
Hey, as long as they don't leave, she don't leave the shells everywhere. You good?
Yeah.
So my wife's a vegetarian, so it's either the.
So she don't want no meat.
Nope.
You know what?
Oh,
all day, every day. What you want me to say? What you want me to say? A baby leg is her favorite snack? Baby leg. Nah.
Oh my God.
That's sushi from
I'm
HEB.
sorry, bro.
Something wrong with y'all.
The veggie sushi from HEB, or if that's not available, because now everybody's fake vegan and vegetarian, right? So they tear up all the vegetarian stuff. I'll get her some olive tamponade from the little bar at either HEB or Whole Foods, and those little pita chips. She'll crush all that all day.
Okay.
That's my wife likes those pita chips with like that Boursin cheese on it, and she eats those, and she actually likes sardines too,
Ooh.
But she got to take a little break, hey honey,
And
with some
let me,
real crusty tea.
Did you like it with the white cracker? Salty cracker?
and let me add this too, because don't think you're gonna catch any of us up on this question. We have to know what she like, because if we come over what we like, she gonna eat some of that shit. So I'm always
Trigg, I was about to say that. My wife's favorite snacks are Cheetos and then whatever I'm eating, a little piece of it. Exactly.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Cheetos, the puffy ones or the crunchy ones?
The puffy ones.
Oh, the crushy one, man.
I like the crunchy
want
ones.
anything from the store? No, I'm good. Ooh,
So
let me
here
get
you
some of
ask
that.
her, baby, you want something? I'm going to get this. There, bring back some pistachios. And you come back with your food. Oh, can I have some? I just asked you.
What's that?
Yep.
What's
I just
that?
asked you that you want something.
That was like Bobby and Whitney when he was like, you ain't want. I want your steak. You should have ordered your own steak. No, I want your steak. Okay. All right. Who's next? Her favorite snack.
Well, I'm gonna say this. My wife had back-to-back kids, so y'all gotta bear with me on this. It's one snack, but it's
It's
a
disgusting.
little
yeah.
sophisticated.
Hmm.
So she liked the cookies and cream ice cream. I don't know if y'all know what that is. It come in a tub. You can get it at Walmart, Kroger's.
It's not unique.
Nah, we live
Cookies
under a
and
rock.
cream ice cream.
We live under a rock. We don't know what cookies
Yeah.
and cream is.
All right.
Punk niggas eat
Okay,
cookies
keep
and cream ice cream too, nigga.
Ricky, you stupid, bro.
Why you
Keep
saying like it
listening.
was
I don't know. This might be a little too much for y'all, but
Keep
cookies
listening.
and the cream.
Keep listening.
Okay.
Cookies and cream ice cream. That's the base.
Oh.
Then you take the fried tomato, you put it on the
Nope,
top.
nope.
Oh, hell no, I'm out.
Sprinkle some garlic powder on that.
Are you being
And then you
serious?
take the fruit roll up, and you put the fruit roll up on
No.
top of the garlic powder. And then you gotta get the Oreos, not the regular Oreos, not
Yeah,
the
I'm
double
out.
stuffed Oreos, but it gotta
The
be the
thin?
Oreo thins. You put those inside of the fruit roll-ups, and then you wash it down, and then she washed it down with some seltzer water. Watermelon to be exact.
I knew it was gonna be disgusting. Pregnant women, bro.
Them
What?
farts was knocking
Are
you off
you?
the
That
bed,
has to
wasn't
be
it?
the
Farts
craziest.
was destroying you, boy.
Did you
You
say
could not put your head under the cover.
Man,
Destroying your ass.
boy, she fart knock your head off
Should
your
have
shoulder.
she should
I'm
have
gonna
dutch
just go ahead
oven
and sleep
you
on the
one
couch
time.
tonight.
The pollution.
And I wonder why
That
every time
is
I go
wild.
play basketball the next day, everybody getting out my way.
Woo.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
Nikki makes these ices with strawberries, blueberries, yada yada yada, whatever's in the damn refrigerator. But she loves them. She brings them joints upstairs and she gets to going and she tries to give it to me and I'm like, I'm all right. But she makes these ices and I swear that she busts them down and this is her favorite snack as of late. 10 years ago it was chocolate chip cookies by Pillsbury. Like every night. Like, where's this petite girl putting these damn chocolate chip cookies
Smash.
every night?
Cookie
So
Monster.
yeah, but as of late, it's been the ices, the homemade ices.
I was gonna say they sound healthy. Fresh fruit, can't go wrong with that. You don't have all that extra sugar, even though sometimes fresh fruit can have a lot of sugar too. All right, who's next?
Oh, my wife. Oh, go ahead. You go ahead. You go ahead, bro.
Oh, so she was over here eating it earlier. It's a specific kind of ice cream. It's this dark chocolate truffle ice cream. I know that's her jam. I know if I get that, she happy. So
Nice.
Okay.
And she's vegan.
yep,
Right?
and she's vegan. So it's a specific brand too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, so you gotta probably search. Is it sold everywhere? You probably gotta search high and low for that ice cream.
It ain't hard to find actually.
Okay.
Boom.
Okay.
No.
Ricky.
My wife.
$24.50.
My wife love Chicago mixed popcorn with hot popcorn in it. So it's
okay.
if you've been to Chicago, it's Garrett's popcorn. It's cheddar popcorn with caramel popcorn. And
Yeah,
then
man.
Is that one of the
Like-
things that Chicago is known for? Their
Yeah.
popcorn?
yeah.
Really? Oh
Yep.
wow.
Yep. So it's
I'm a
cheddar
kettle corn type of
popcorn,
person.
cheddar popcorn, and caramel popcorn, and then you put some hot popcorn in there. That's our jam right there.
Okay. She got a little smorgasbord of popcorn.
That's our jam.
All right. So I just wanted to take a little time out to see how well y'all knew y'all ladies. Okay. Don't get mad at me. Don't get
Let me
mad
get
at me.
mine. I didn't get mine yet.
Oh, I'm sorry, Hank. Go ahead.
Now she likes them damn Slim Jims.
Snap into a
Oh,
Slim
really?
Jim.
It's just gross.
I can't get down with the Slim Jims either, Hank. I don't know what it is about the beef and the plastic and the smell.
the
And then
cheese
I
with
just
it,
found
or
out
just
that
the
people were not opening
round
them
beef
correctly.
jerky. It's pipe
Some of
beef
them is
jerky.
flat. I had a little dog growing up, a Pekingese, and it just reminds me of his
Dog treats.
Yeah. They just remind me of the bacon strips and I can't deal with the but to each his own. Some people love them Slim Jims, okay?
When
Them
he get
Slim
off, she gonna
Jims,
say,
and I
"Oh, so
remember
you
in
don't
back
like
in
my
school,
Slim
people used
Jim?"
to get the Slim Jims and the combos. The
My-
combos
my-
was a huge
my-
thing back in the day.
My ex-wife used to eat dirt. She from down south. They eat white dirt down there in Georgia. Yep.
He is absolutely
Wisconsin.
correct. He is not lying.
They sell it in the general stores.
You can
Are you
eat
being
that.
serious?
No,
I'm
he's
serious.
absolutely correct. I'm from Louisiana.
Dirt?
You can eat dirt. People used to just swipe dirt, just eat it. Eat dirt. He's absolutely correct.
God made dirt, and dirt don't hurt.
She's country. My ex-wife is
Right.
country.
I don't know, bro. Go
So
look
we're
at their
gonna
inside.
we're gonna
Look at my dirt.
transition. We're gonna transition on. Some men struggle with openness, vulnerability, and things of that nature. So I wanted to ask you guys, when did you feel safe with her, or how did she create a safe space for you? To want to marry her, because not every woman can access or allow that to be something that they offer a man or can offer the man or have an ability to offer the man. So when did she do that for you? We'll start with Mr. He said.
It was constant throughout, but it became evident, by the time I seen her level of vulnerability, just, willing to divulge her differences that she had with her dad, I was able to encourage, that relationship to be a lot more healthy. And at the end of the day, it was. But her family, the ups and the downs, and just the realistic side of her. I was able to, like I said, venture into her neighborhood and see how she was admired in her neighborhood, how she was respected. But I was also able to see her dysfunction, and she was very
Mhm.
transparent and very vocal and articulate about the relationship with her stepdad, the tumultuous relationship with her mom and her dad, and just again seeing that level of vulnerability at the same time pouring into me, willing to ride with me through my trials and tribulations, and cultivating a family, listening to her aspirations, and her being a sapiosexual, just loving my conversation, and all of those things, was the perfect storm of her showing me that she was down for me, and that ride or die, quote
Mhm.
unquote, that the kids say. She was absolutely showing and proving that. And like I said, from her walking up to me the first day, offering to tie my shoe, to her proposing to me, like all of these things were components that just showed me that this lady deserved, this lady was warrant, this lady was, needing of a good man in her life, a permanent man in her life. All of the people who were temporary in and out of her life, from her dad to her brothers and so on and so forth. Just, her walking up to me and picking me, just wanted me to show her she was a good picker. So her level of vulnerability just solidified for me that, she was deserving of love, deserving of a husband, and I wanted to be that for her. So it was the vulnerability for me.
Okay, vulnerability, which is not easy for a lot of people. All right, Sir Hell, we'll just go around the bend with this one. So, Sir Hell, when did you feel safe with her? How does she make a safe space for you?
To be honest with you, I never expected that. I never seen that. Never knew what that was. I come from
Mhm.
from a generation of men where we didn't. Our wives weren't our best friends. Like that's kind of like a
Mhm.
newer age kind of thing. I came up with your wife was your wife, and then you had your boys. So I wasn't looking for a safe space initially. But as I've gotten older, we've got 4 kids, married for 60 years. Life has gotten more complicated. I've lost loved ones, lost brother, sister. The what my wife has done now, safe is always under construction. And I think what
Mhm.
happens is so many people do something for so long and then they keep it there. And the maintenance that it takes to match your development, it necessitates that your wife sees you for who you are now and not continue to do what used to work because that's what's become comfortable. So I say that to say that safe is constantly under construction. And the way that my wife creates that safe space is listen. Like one thing, the what made me fall in love and marry my wife and trust her was that I could talk to anybody, but very few people could actually hear me. And one thing that separates wives from girlfriends is girlfriends can repeat what you say. A wife takes what you say and she does something with what you said. The big difference. And so my wife, she hears, she calculates, and then she does something, and she can interpret my silence. And that to me is safe because sometimes I need to be safe knowing that you won't agitate my silence to get me to talk when I'm still processing. And then when I process prematurely and I explode, now it's an argument, and then I shut down and I feel guilty. And then it creates a wedge between us because you try to get me to talk when I was still processing. So the ability to just listen and to not agitate me, but to create a place of peace. And when I'm ready to talk, baby, I'm here. So again, you don't get that, 19, 20 years old. You got to go through different phases of life to understand that she needed to grow as well. And so I say that I can't say it happened at 18 or 19. What I can say is it has happened at some point every year. And I appreciate that because my wife continues to build and to maintain that safe space, because safety is always under construction.
So she's always growing in places to be safe, and that interpreting the silence, that was golden. You didn't say you was gonna come preach tonight. I didn't get that on the agenda, but I'm here for
Me
it.
taking up our tithe and offering in a minute.
Right. Somebody got the side now. That's good. All right, Hank. When did you feel safe with her? How did she create a safe space for you?
Uh, it was probably when she felt, I guess, was able to share some stuff with me. It's when I said, well, it must be a good time to test her out and see where she stands. And so it probably, I knew her since '94. We knew each other in college, so that was we had a history there. So, but it was just about us now being together as a couple. It was probably about a year after we started. Well, yeah, probably about a year about that we started dating. Is when I felt comfortable, enough to be vulnerable and share stuff with her. So about a year.
A year. Okay. The actual King Smith, how about for you, sir? When did you feel safe, and how did she create that safe space for you?
I'm not sure how to answer this one, being that I stated that I was married for 14 years, divorced. I'm currently in a relationship now. And in the relationship that I'm in now, we took a page from you, that the one thing that you say about being hot, honest, open, and transparent, like I live that now. And it's a freeing and a beautiful thing to be able to just be honest, open, and transparent with somebody. And if they receive it, great. If they don't, then they're not for you. So I don't really know how to answer that question because I'm living that now with someone and they're receiving how hot I am with them. So like time will tell.
I appreciate the honesty. Thank you. Okay. Ricky, when did you feel safe, and how did she create that safe space for you?
When did I feel safe?
Yeah, like when did
Never,
you?
never,
Oh, okay.
never. What do you mean by that?
A safe space. So most men don't open up. I don't want to say they don't open up. Is something that they may keep hidden. They may not feel comfortable talking about certain things. And so
Yeah.
it takes a while. It takes a while for that to happen. So I'm not saying that it's never happened, but when did it happen for you guys? When were you able to?
It hasn't happened for me. It won't happen for me. Right.
Mhm,
It happened for her when she realized that I can hold water.
mhm,
Right. I ain't no paper bag. And when I told her when we first met, if we discussed something between us, I had to prove that to her. Right.
mhm.
But I'm this is just me and my personal opinion. You guys can knock me if you want. I'm under understanding some things you should never tell your woman. It's just some things you should never tell her. She gonna look at you different. Simply what it is. I got too much life experience to believe otherwise.
Mhm,
Simply what it is. Your mama will tell you down if she get into the right mainframe with the stuff she
mhm.
know. So don't think another woman won't do it.
Hmm. Interesting perspective. Darwin, how about for you? When did you feel safe, or how did she create that safe space, and how did she create that safe space for you?
Uh, my wife made me feel safe, and I knew I was safe whenever I was able to see and witness her in a cooperative state. She had a
Mhm.
cooperative nature, which led to her not making rash decisions. And she was reserved during outside conflict, so to speak,
Mhm.
because it's my job to keep her safe. So any recklessness she had could put me in harm's way. So then my safety would be at stake. So
Mhm.
her being able to be maintain her cooperativeness gave me an ease of mind. It gave me some assurity that I was safe because I knew that my wife wasn't gonna just pop off, and
Right.
then I got to throw myself in front of the bullet. So it kept me out of harm's way, and she let me deal with the issues that require a masculine presence. She was reserved, so that's when she was able to behave like that, and I was able to see that. I was like, okay, yeah, I feel safe.
Mhm.
I know my woman gonna stay in her lane, and I'm gonna be able to make sure, what I'm saying, everything is put to bed. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because I have a way of being able to resolve conflict and issues without violence. And I see a lot of women out here putting that man in harm's way. Some of them getting killed. I don't seen sisters get their brothers killed.
Mhm.
So yeah, I
And
don't
I
think I need to go. I don't even think I need to go on anymore.
and I would say that just from hearing you speak, her having that background of seeing it helped. It helped her probably be able to regulate those emotions. And I believe I heard you say before, did she play a sport too? Yeah, so that
Yeah,
probably helped as well.
we both met at Virginia State University. I was 30. She was no, I'm sorry. I got married at 30. I was 26 and she was just turning 21.
I was about to
Mhm.
say, what the hell you doing at college? Never mind.
Boy,
It's
yeah,
never
We
time
too
is
was both
late.
hard
I
on a
gave
brother,
At
man.
Never
listen,
30
too
years
late.
old, walking around
Super
as damn
senior. He
kid.
was a super senior, boy.
Professor and student.
I was a non-traditional student at 26 and I was one hell of an athlete and she was one hell of an athlete. And
Trigger
Mhm.
finger.
one would say she was a track star the way she had a body, boy.
Mhm.
And Lord have mercy. I knew
So
Yep,
that
I
she was
and
have
with
a I have a
that came discipline.
I have a
so what?
question for you, Mr. Darwin. That sports mentality, that team mentality, how did you, if you did, transition that from, the team to your family?
Oh man, I think that aspect of having a team mentality was important because long as we had one goal and we knew exactly that that's what we wanted to end up at. It didn't matter whether or not I was a better player or she was a supportive player. The only thing that mattered was, hey, can we get the trophy? So the team aspect played a really good deal in, and us being able to understand and be, that sportsmanship. You know what I'm saying? And hey, look, I'm the superstar these days. You the role player these days. You the superstar those days. Vice versa. As long as we knew it and we was able to accept those dynamics, man, we can do anything. But now we got two more players that came off the bench, so it's like,
And they're gonna have their roles too.
so it's
All
no, it's
right.
hardly no sleep now.
All right, Trigger, y'all in the game all day, all night. Trigger Mike, when did you feel safe with her and how did she, create that safe space for you?
Um, wow. I mean, I don't really look at it in those terms,
Mhm.
but I will say, I guess this is more of a conversation related to trust. I don't trust blindly. I've seen
Mhm.
too much in my life to trust blindly, and I also believe that you trust people exactly for who they are. So I was able to relax a little bit once I see she was a great mom, and I can trust she's going to be where she needs to be for her kids and how she needs to be there for them when she needs to do that. She showed me that over time that she
Mhm.
pays more attention to that and she is focused on being a good mother. I was able to trust that about her. So I'm one of those types of people where I don't trust blindly at
Yeah, you
all.
gotta
You
gotta be
literally have to
shown.
develop it in different facets and areas. Just like Rick said, there are certain things about myself that I will take to God, I'll take to my father, or I'll take to my boys before I ever think about talking to my wife. So what I do know is over the course of time, what I have trusted is that she started to learn me and my boundaries better. That's all. So in the marriage, I think, as you said, Precious, in today's age, oh no, I'm sorry, it was Sir Hale. In today's age, so many women expect you to be their best friend. They were sold that Disney fantasy. Oh, we're best friends, and well, anybody thought of what if your man don't really want to be your best friend? Not in that way
I
that
was
they're
your
talking
best
about,
friend.
right? I love my wife, and I love the fact that we can strategize to make awesome moves for our family. We can run a checkup together. We can save a bag together. We can do all of these things, but some men aren't opening up because they don't want that stuff used against them later. They don't
Mhm.
want you to hit them where they're weak. And honestly, to be honest, there are more things that I would look for. I literally don't want to talk, but I want you to sense without words. Hey, maybe I
Mhm.
need you to rub my head right now. Just let me lay my head on your chest and just do that. But I don't want to
Mhm.
use words to get to that
Right.
point, right?
Mhm.
Because I'd rather I'm talking 95% of my issues are solved in my own head before I even got to talk to anybody. All right. So I've noticed that I get more aggravated trying to process, right? Just give it some time. I'm gonna think about it. Before I even but by the time the next morning comes, I've already let it go. Whatever it was. Don't need to process that. So most people think because men don't talk that we're always holding things in. But as far as creating a safe space, is I think Sir Hill alluded to it again, is knowing what I need without me having to say it. Just
No.
just 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 be whatever I need. Don't try to talk me into spilling my guts out or none of that. Just be like, well, I mean, shoot, just come here, do it. So I could say
Just
that
being a good
developed over time.
interpreter.
hmm
Mhm.
That developed over time. Like, let me stop trying to be his healer. He don't
Right.
need me for that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Only Jesus saves. That's what I say. All right, Arpain, how about for you? When did you feel
Yeah,
safe with him?
I'm old school. I never even contemplated, being vulnerable for my lady. I just
Mm.
thought the whole thing was my responsibility. But the one thing she does give me is, and I also don't believe in telling her everything. I mean, throughout 36 years, we had ups and downs, some financial things I had to take care of, family things I had to take care of. I never discuss those things with her. I just go solve them, you know? If I always felt in my head, if I had to actually solicit my wife to fix something, then we're really in bad shape. We're
Mhm.
really in bad shape.
Mhm.
So and this all culminates in the fact that when she goes to bed at night, my wife, she's out in like 1 minute.
Mm.
I don't know how she does that. She'll put her head down and she's out. Out.
Damn,
I
you doing it
said,
like that, RP?
Right, what you doing over there, Arpain?
What
You
you
got
doing,
her out.
RP?
Just tell me.
I would like to take credit for the real thing putting her out that way, but she done it with or without me.
I told y'all RP was a
So she
stripper.
out, man. Boom. So listen, but the
Put
fact
it
that
with
she
that
can go to
lock
sleep like
knee.
that, I think is the fact that I don't put any pressures on
Right.
her. So I mean, that's the way I am. I feel safe in terms of I know I could tell her stuff. I know she
Mhm.
understands how I move. Like when I come
Mhm.
home, she's not quick to throw stuff at me when I used to come home from work. I could go decompress without having to
Mhm.
tell her I need to do that.
Mhm.
And that was from the beginning. She was never one of those, I need to know where you're at, I need this, I need that, I want
Right.
to look at your phone and all this
Stalking
other
you.
bullshit.
Right, right.
So I never had anything like that. I'm just peaceful when she's around. Even when I'm not feeling good, if she's in a room with me, I just feel better.
Talk about
I
it.
just feel better when she's around.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so it's just cool. But I don't never really think I need to offload anything to her that's going to get her out of her peace. And like I said, if it ever came to that point, then our situation is really, really serious. So let me just land it there.
Why they clowning you in the chat, Arpain? If they start talking about sex, I'm out of here. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Well, I want to put this out there. I found some
Hey,
information
man,
on
let me
Arpain.
tell
We
you, I
talked
can
about
spit a
this a
good
couple of
sex
weeks ago.
yarn, man. So don't test me. Don't
Arpain
test
used to be a stripper. They call him the continent.
me.
Oh my goodness.
Look
R-Pain,
at the thing
T-Pain, you know. All right, Black Man Unfiltered, you're up, sir. When did you feel safe with her? And how did she make a safe space for you?
I pretty much can piggyback on something Trigger Mike said about the kids. When the way that woman take care of these babies, oh my God. I just love it. But I also want to piggyback on something Ricky said. And I think our pain is and somebody else. When we grew up, we were not taught to do that. We were taught as growing up as young men to never go to your wife with those things. It was two reasons for it. Two reasons would be, as already been mentioned, that she'll hold it against you, and if y'all have a disagreement, it may come up. But the second thing is, they said what Ricky said, they'll look at you different. My grandfather used to say, if you go to your wife or your woman talking about your problems, she's gonna look at you different. And she's gonna start losing respect for you. And so I remember hearing that from my dad, my granddad, uncles, and I just grew up that way. So I'm like Trigger Mike, if something happens, I have an issue, I'll do my best to handle it on my own. I'll solve it myself and go from there. So.
Okay,
Precious, can I add something really quickly?
yeah.
I think most women, whether we like this or not, are terminally trustworthy. I think that it's been pumped into our head that our woman is going to be all of that for us. And it's a difference. Me and Black men, I could call Black man today and have a horrible day. And Black men could look at me having a horrible day, and we could literally compartmentalize and say, this was a bad day. He was out of character because this is a bad day. For a lot of women, a bad day is somehow an indictment on your character. And I think this is why a lot of women, particularly 90s, 2000s, up until now, say you wanted men to be more sensitive and men to be more open and men to open up and share with you. I think the problem with that is women were asking men to open up, but they didn't prepare to receive it. Like they didn't prepare for what they were asking for. And when it gets too ugly to process and it's outside of their purview of understanding, it's like it's used as a weapon. Like I refer to this scripture in Proverbs. I love this. This is my favorite part. Chapter 31, verse 10. It says, who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is above rubies. We get that. But verse 11 says something that I think is profound. It says, the heart of her husband doth safely trust in her. The heart of her husband does safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. She would do him good and not evil all the days of his life. I think most men wish our wives could be our best friend. It's like we get to have sex with her, we get to love her, go on vacation. But when it comes to some of those real critical things in life, even the men who have some of the greatest wives, if that wife is not conscientious and she's not constantly working on herself, even the best of wives who have the best of intentions can weaponize a man's honesty and inflict a blow that he might go to work and get promoted, but that man might be bleeding internally for years with blood that you can't see. So I think a lot of men, I think we wish our wives could be that. But I think a lot of the older school men knew it. They just wasn't as poised and wasn't as eloquent in saying it. But a lot of women haven't been taught how to be trustworthy beyond what they feel in that moment, beyond the good times and how they feel and the hormones. And so I think women today, before we ask men to open up and be honest and transparent, like really ask yourself, can you handle his honesty? And could his honesty cause you to see him differently? And if that's the case, then you can't expect him to love you beyond how you see him. Because if his human experience can change how you see him, you don't love him, you love what you think he is.
Can't love him past what you accept him as. Woo. That was good, Sir Hell. That was good.
Love the idea of you, not you. Simply what it
Mm,
is. Simply what it is. The truth
I
is,
mean,
when
and it's yeah. I'm sorry.
the truth is, like, from again, this is just my experience, guys. This is my experience, right? It's funny how, to me, how people could have these arguments and have these actually reiterate the point that women are emotional, that women overthink things, right? So to use Sir Hell's example, it could be something that we're handling within ourselves and will handle, and most women will overthink it, right?
yeah.
So instead of it becoming a problem for you,
Mm-hmm.
now it's a problem for her, which is going to be double the problem for you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because now you got to get her off the ledge when you could just prevent it that by either talking to somebody you feel that's more knowledgeable, that's in your circle, or somebody that you trust as a man, right? Or figuring it out yourself. Now, if you got it, now figuring out yourself does require some more life experience going through stuff, right? Also, having the resources to refer to, right? But we solve problems, we don't make them,
Yeah.
right? And when you do that, you just making another problem.
Mm. Okay, I appreciate you guys and your and answering that question because I like the panel because the perspectives are just, you have some that are similar, but you have some that are different. And like I said, we learning some things about y'all. Y'all in the hot seat for real tonight, and y'all are showing up, and I really appreciate you. What does date night look like for you guys? Are you constantly dating your boo? Is it, do you have like a quarterly thing going on, a monthly thing? What does date night look like? Date night. Black Man Unfiltered.
Man.
Well, you just came back from Jamaica, but what
Yeah,
does how is dating incorporated in the marriage?
I think that we got this thing that we do now. And they have this Dallas TikTok page where it shows you a lot of neat things every week. It updates itself to show you different things that you can do. They added to the city, downtown, outskirts of Dallas, Fort Worth area. And so we go on and look and we just go back and forth, right? So one week I'll pick something, next week she'll pick something, but every Wednesday I have to disconnect from everything. But every Wednesday we make it our date night, right? So we go somewhere, and no matter where, it could be something dinner, it could be a movie, it could be anything. We just make sure we spend that time together on Wednesdays, every
Okay, so
Wednesday.
prioritizing it on hump day.
Yep,
Okay, I
got
see
to be
what you're doing
consistent
there. I see what you're doing there.
on
All
hump
right.
day. Come on.
Mr. He said, how about for you guys? What does dating look like in the married life?
Um, for us currently, it's a living organism. It's Friday typically. And it changes. But it's more like appreciation.
Mhm.
uh the week that we have, me going in to the office and working from home, and her curating this home and teaching my child. She's a homeschool teacher, so I get to take the teacher out and get a drunk a little bit. But Friday is the day, because I just want to appreciate her for the week. And it started when we were cultivating our relationship, and we had maybe two children, maybe. And I would go out maybe for a fight, or something that she don't particularly partake in. But when I come back, it's like, I've had infantile conversation all day.
Right,
I
right.
haven't had any grown up, mature interaction. And it was a time where she was just like, I would love to be able to get out the house, break the monotony, and spend some time with you collaboratively. And financially, it just wasn't one of the things that we were able to do. But once we graduated to a better position, Friday became appreciation day, and we just want to let each other know, congratulations for making it through a week. And even if we just have one drink, we get a couple of two steps and we go in. We just want to make sure we get outside the house environment so that we can talk, see if we can be a better partner in whatever areas, and get that time. So that's Friday for us, but it's definitely a living, breathing thing. And it's not necessary, but I'm definitely the curator. It's not, she pick, I pick. it's get dressed. I got some plans, and we go from there. So
Oh,
that's worked out for us so far, and we are very thankful to be able to do it.
I done seen y'all with the karaoke and whatnot. I was like, okay, they in there singing, okay.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to the Sads. One thing I love about what they do is they dance. Like that is so good to
Yes,
me to
it's
see
so
couples dancing
rare.
together. What? Like so,
You don't
a
see
shout
that no
to the
more.
Sads. Love what y'all doing. I'm very similar. We go out to movies and stuff, but I'm up in the game. I'm going to go dancing. I'm gonna look stupid doing it, but I'm going to figure out how to do this thing right and have some fun. Listen to some good R&B music, some good soul. You know what I mean? Some good dance
Mhm.
music. But much appreciation to the Says. I love what y'all do.
Yes. All right, Sir Hell, I mean, you might as well just pick up the mic. What does dating life look like in your marriage?
So we do a lot of different things. So like we just went to a movie last night. We went out to a restaurant on Saturday.
Mhm.
Um, every week we do something. Whether it's a new restaurant, we go out, we just drive. Like I live like 45 minutes from Oklahoma. So we might just get in there, go down 35. You know what I'm saying? Go, hit Oklahoma. Ain't nothing there but
Get that old
casinos and gas
Cino.
stations. Yeah,
Yep,
yeah, yeah.
Cino.
Yeah, nothing but casinos and gas stations. That's it.
Yeah.
And but I love riding past the Texas Motor Speedway. That's just like my favorite thing to just do. So, I mean, we just figure out things, and it's really not about the place. It's really just about us being together, and
Mhm.
we do that about once or twice every week.
Okay. All right. Hank, how about for you? What does the dating life look like?
So mine's is every Saturday.
I
Uh,
love how y'all are really prioritizing dating. You're like
yeah,
everybody is every this, every that,
I got
big up
mine's
for
on
y'all.
Saturday. Nothing. I can't do any social media, nothing like that. So it's
Okay. There's
strictly
rules.
about her, spending time with her. So, but most time we end up in my spots. I like to go to a good record shop, a good action figure / Funko shop. But then like we went to like some vintage this thing we got called Nulu Day. So I took her there and they had like booths of you know, local beers and drinks and wines and bourbon and stuff like that. So got the opportunity to go down there and enjoy that on a good Saturday. Well, it's like pretty much like a smaller version of a fair type atmosphere
Mhm.
and do stuff like that. We'll go to this little spot we call the Black Jockey Club here, and they got a live band. So we like to listen to live music and stuff like that. And I want to take her to the smoke shop, a cigar. Well, it's a smoke shop, but they really just do cigars. So
Mhm.
that's probably the next big outing we're going to do. But yeah, but I'm more of a big fan of live bands. Well, we're both big fan of live music, so we always looking for the next good concert. Within a couple hour drive. We'll go up there, we'll stay the night, and come back the next morning, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, so we like a live band. A good, it doesn't matter. Good jazz, up tempo jazz, R&B. It doesn't matter.
All right. The actual King Smith, how about for you? How does dating look?
Um, Currently, it's movies. As her
Mhm.
and I both enjoy movies, and we don't enjoy the same movie. There's somebody in the comment that know about the relationship that I'm in that thought that I dragged her out to go see the Expendables 4, which is like an action movie or whatnot. I enjoyed the movie, so did her. Like she wanted to go see it
So it's
as
good.
well. Hey, look, I said it was good, but other people said it was trash. But
Yeah.
I love the
They
like
took all the characters out, didn't they?
that those type of movies where it's just mindless action and stuff blowing up. I love it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't me dragging her out. She wanted to go and see it too. So we do movies, we do football on Thursday nights, whether it's my place or hers. Uh her and I both support the same pro team,
Who is
but
that?
the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, say don't say the Bears.
And something that her and I were talking about today is we both do content and we do content together. So the pros and the positives about that is some people say you don't want everybody into your business if you're doing content together and you're with somebody, yada yada. But it's an exercise in communication for both of us. And I dig that, and she dig it as well. So there's not a lot of surprises as her and I are, talking and sharing things. So movies, football, and doing our content every Monday night.
Okay. Ricky, how about for you guys? What does date night look like?
Random.
Random.
Random, right?
Okay.
She'll come home for be like, hey, I'm taking you out tonight.
Mm.
Right. It could be anything. Dinner. We stay a little bit from Minneapolis, so whenever we see like a R&B or something, some tour come up, we ride up there. Take staycations. You know what I'm saying? Just pull up on a Friday. Hey, let's go to Vegas. Right. Let's go to Vegas. Let's go to Dallas. Let's go see what's up. Just spend time together. Live bands up in the cities. Like we do a bunch of different stuff. Like I said, it's nothing set in a set stone because life happens. You know what I'm saying? We have stuff we got to do, work, catch up with you. Them days start rolling into one day. You know what I mean? But when I see time and I got the money looking righteous, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, we out of here, let's go. And I always try to make sure the money looking righteous. So
Hey, don't come to my city and not call me, man. Come on now.
hey man,
Don't
hey,
come
I'll
to
be in and
Dallas,
out.
man.
I'll be in and out of Dallas. I'm telling you, I'll be in and out of Dallas, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's just and we be all down there. Like she got family down in what's it called? It's Mississippi. She got family down in Mississippi. Tupelo, down there in Tupelo.
Oh, that's down in the Delta, boy.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
where her
have mercy.
family at.
In the
So
Delta? Where
yeah,
the guy
Yep.
was fighting about his chicken?
yes, yeah.
Dirty when
So
the girl get naked.
I'm from the Delta. All
yeah,
right,
yeah,
I'm
you go,
sorry.
Trigger.
but we
There you go,
also
Trigger.
I'll also want to talk about she had her group of girlfriends. I'm a solo dolo type of guy. I really don't rock with a lot of people because I want people to be friends with me the way I am with them, and a lot of people like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But I also believe in letting couples have a time apart so you can miss each other. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So she went camping with her girlfriends this weekend. Her girlfriend she worked with got a camper out in the country. They went out and had fun, had a little pre-Halloween thing, you know. But yeah, you got to take your girl out, man. Show her you appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? And you should be taking him out too sometime. You
Mm-hmm.
work. You know what I mean? He shouldn't have to pick up the check every time. You know what I mean? So yeah, but it's totally random. We don't set nothing up. We kind of fly by our seats type of couple. When we want to go, we just get up and go if we got the time. So.
And that's exciting. All right, Darwin, how about for you? What does date night look like for you guys?
Well, before we had kids, it was, we'll fly out, we'll hit the club, get a section, we'll get drunk, get back to the suite and see who's willing to do the freakiest, nastiest thing. But now it's more like a, hey, let's take the kids to the park and the kids are asleep. That's what date night is now.
That's
So
date night.
get you some booty in the middle of the night and call it a day. That's it.
It won't always be that way. I can't even get it out. Hopefully it won't always be that way. Trigger Mike, how about for you? What does date night look like for you?
I'm on the same time Bruce is on. That's really what it is. So what I really want to say for people who aspire to be married, get your head out of the clouds and be realistic. If you think you're gonna date with young children the same way you did when y'all were boyfriend and girlfriend, it's not going down like that. I believe one of the reasons for the high divorce rate is people aren't realistic about marriage at all.
Yeah.
And when I said I went into this knowing exactly, I went in too prepared. I was prepared. She wasn't. All right. I knew that these children are going to be our date night. We can't do anything with them. And the funniest part is that I told her, I said, it's not even about me. You're not going to want to leave them with people when they're young. And she exactly how she was. Well, but no, maybe we shouldn't leave them. Maybe the babysitter, not right now. That's how it is. So date time is anywhere, anyhow, anything, and it usually involves wine. We're big wine drinkers in this house. Our first anniversary was at Messina Hoff by it's a Texas staple type of winery over by Texas A&M University in College Station area. Yeah, been in the family over there for a while, so we went over there and then we just started learning about wine. But we on Friday we went to a nice spot in Katy called the Cellar Door. Very intimate, live music, and Texas got a lot of Latino inspired stuff. So that dude, just imagine a old Mexican dude named Rodrigo on a
Arrigo.
on a damn guitar. You already know that sound like Desperado. You remember that movie? He was
Mhm.
killing it, and his eyes closed. Just imagine it. So that type of intimate setting. We love intimate stuff, and we do love to dance, man. But she can't get me to go salsa dancing. My knees are bad, man. That stuff is work. You think you dancing? It's work. It is a workout. So we love that type of stuff, and we try to get out and do it as much as we can. We got to be deliberate about it. God be so great. Her entire side of the family has moved over here because of me, because
Wow.
of the move I made. Right, I moved to Houston 2013. Her sister came right behind her. Another sister came. Now her father moved down here, and all his kids came. I was like, oh yes. So the babysitting situation is getting sorted out. Everybody wants to take the kids. Kids are a lot more independent. They're lovely kids, so they don't have any behavior issues. So yeah, we're gonna get out a lot more. But I got a 4 and a 6-year-old. We're just now getting to the point where she feels comfortable letting other people watch them, especially overnight. So yeah, we're back into the swing of things slowly but surely. But I just want to make sure I leave a realistic statement out there. You're gonna take a bit of a hiatus from the way it used to look like. In fact, Bruiser talking about he getting some in the middle of the night. Shit, I had to change to the daytime. That's you see what I'm saying? So yeah, y'all will be tired when it come these night times, especially Friday. If y'all go out on Friday, good for you. I can't go out at the end of a work week. Catch me on Saturday.
All right. Our pain. What does date night look like for you guys?
Yeah, if I can stop coughing. Yeah, we like movies. We do
Mhm.
movies, random movies in the house. We got a place where we set up. We watch movies in the house. We'll go out if it's a blockbuster. And every so often, we like going to hotels. We
Ooh.
go maybe 4 or 5 times a year. We go to a hotel, stay the weekend, just set it up with wine and all kinds of knickknacks and stuff. Usually the hotel might have a restaurant in it, and so we'll just chill, do room service, have fun, play around. Yeah, and that's cool.
You be
So
bringing out the rose petals, our pain.
yeah, well, whatever we want to do. So it's just like,
Whatever,
just to get out the house, get out of where we are.
whenever.
So we do that on a regular basis. Even when our kids were young, we found ways to always do stuff together. So,
Mhm.
we
That's
still try
good.
to do it. Maybe not as often, but we get out of here. We stay
Mm.
in touch. Yeah.
Okay.
Pay, y'all watch them old Charlie Chaplin movies there? What y'all watching?
Nah, nah, we're flexible. Whatever's yeah. Silent movies.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So we're gonna talk about some conflict resolution. Because a lot of times on our platforms, I know on my platforms, we talk about therapy and counseling and how that could be a great strategy for not only yourself but also your relationship. So, I want to know, did any one of you go through premarital counseling, and how do you guys approach conflict resolution? We'll start with Ricky.
Counseling? No. No, no. No, 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 no. No. Conflict resolution in this house is if you wrong, say you wrong.
Mm.
It's just that simple. Me and my wife don't have arguments anymore. We passed that point. We have discussions. Hey, you saw that, right? What you mean? Dot, 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 dot. You feel that's correct? Yeah, I think I could. Okay, then. Right. But as far as before, we got into it. Whoever's wrong, admit they wrong.
Mhm.
You wrong. Don't matter how you feel about it. It don't matter how you looking at it. If we have the discussion and we talking about it and you wrong, you know what, baby, I was wrong. I'm sorry.
That was actually one of my questions too. The power of an apology. I don't think we really understand how powerful that is. And a lot of people, especially women, I would say, take that for granted because we don't like to admit when we're wrong. We don't like how that accountability makes us feel. But the power of an apology is strong. It's powerful. So thank you for saying that.
I mean, the truth of it, and people don't want to talk about it, is that when you have people that's disagreeable and not going the way it's supposed to go, there got to be consequences to it.
Mhm.
Because if not, they just gonna keep doing it. No, when we was going through it, it was consequences. It was consequences, and I'm gonna stand on it. I'm gonna stand on it until one of us get it. Because I'm not. Hey, like I said, and the way I feel about the way I approach this marriage is gonna take. You got to kill my mama for me to leave you.
Mm.
It's got to be something crazy disrespectful because I took it seriously. I take it very seriously, right? So again, if you want me to work on the things that I need to for you, you're gonna have to work on the things I need you to for me.
Mhm.
And I see B Love said, Ricky, how do y'all get to where you are? We got to where we are now because I consider her feelings the same way I would want someone to consider mine. It's just that simple.
Or because you know how to box.
No.
No, I'm just kidding.
No. Right? No, I consider her feelings the same. That now, again, that has nothing to do with let's say a certain decision that needs to be made for the right reasons. That's different, right?
Mhm.
But I'm talking about when it comes to when my ego and my huff is brewing up. Right? This what y'all got to understand, right? In a relationship, if you want a relationship to work, the one thing you have to kill first is your ego, or your ego will kill your relationship. It's gonna kill it. It's gonna murder it where it stands. You got to think of that person the way you think of yourself. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. Or better yet, you thinking it's working, but what you really doing is cheating yourself out the relationship you're supposed to have.
Mm.
And those relationships y'all seeing, y'all be like, they've been together for 30 years and they just broke up. Yeah. Because
Mm.
they was faking the whole time. Being somebody, as what Sir Hill said, being somebody that they wasn't. So kill your ego and everything else will work all right, man. Just be honest and be real with it, man. Right? That's
All
all I
right.
got.
All right. Darn, how about you? Conflict resolution and premarital counseling. Did you guys go through any premarital counseling? And if not, how do you approach and strategize conflict resolution in your relationship?
Well, I was fortunate enough to have in-laws that were married for a very long time. So I wouldn't say I would say it's premarital counseling, but not from a licensed professional.
Mhm.
So we would get our talks. We have conversations, discussions with her parents, and they would help us get through issues that we couldn't get through together.
Mm.
And still to this day, they're there. Their doors are always open for us. So we look at them as a resource, so that we don't have to go and sit in front of someone we don't know. No knock on any marriage counselors or therapists or whatever. But I think we're very lucky to have her parents in our life to be able to be somebody to mediate for us whenever we got challenges that we can't get through together.
Mhm.
So as far as resolving conflict, um, I mean, we talk it out. I would be a liar if I sit here and say that the conversations is easy flowing, but you know, what I try to do is just try to get her to understand that, hey, look, a lot of times it's her emotions. it's not the issue. It's just me catering to how she feel and not just blowing it off. Because what I tend to do is, I try to get more logical and be like, okay, look, this is the problem, this is the solution. All right, move on. But I think a woman, my wife specifically wants you to hold on to it and let it dawn in, let it go through your blood veins a little bit and just let it nurture in your body on how this made me feel. Now, I don't know if there's a lot of females like that, but the one I got, she wants you to, really take your time and embrace the impact of how it's, made her feel negative. Besides just saying, "Oh yeah, okay," and just blowing it off and going on my day. So I would say I got to be a little bit more sensitive. I have to show a little bit more sensitivity to, the things that, may upset her.
Mhm.
And I was struggling to deal with that because I wasn't shown any sensitivity as a child.
Mm.
When I grew up, I didn't even grow up with my mother. My auntie raised me. My father wasn't there. So, when everybody got Jordans, I had the LA Gears. So the sensitivity for me wasn't there. My feelings were hurt. So I learned to fuck it. And then to put the icing on the cake, I went to Uncle Sam. So that didn't make it even worse, bro. Like I was
Mm.
so I gotta learn how to be able to bridge that gap, to where, okay, look, I can be heartless, but I still gotta cater to somebody else's feelings. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not just about me.
Mm. Thank you for recognizing that, because I'm definitely gonna ask a question a little later about you guys and your accountability and what you guys can work on. So be thinking on it, be thinking on it. All right, Trigger Mike, how about for you? Conflict resolution. Did you guys go to premarital counseling, or you said you knew it all, you knew too much. So
No, no.
did that benefit you guys, or did you have to go to
Um, she wanted to go. I
Mhm.
did not see the need for it. At first, maybe in hindsight, it may have been a little prideful, but in the end, I was right. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't. I think with the premarital counseling, all of that came about from people trying to force relationships with people they didn't want to be with in the first place. I remember a lot of family used to teach all of this up front. And if you don't have anybody you can go to ask questions and no example, then yes, maybe premarital counseling for you to get some perspective. But I would say there's a very there's a very deep similarity between being a good husband or wife and just being a good person. Do you struggle to be a good person? Then you might end up being a terrible husband or wife. uh, Everything I've done as far as my marriage is concerned, I've done with intention. I've done it with intentionality, and even maturing to the point where I was able to be successfully married for the 5 years that I've been married. We've had minimal arguments, and for the men, I really encourage you to understand that a lot of that has to do with you. Are you willing to be the thermostat on the wall to say it doesn't matter how hot she comes in to a discussion or an argument or anything, she's not going to get that response to keep that argument going? That's really all it is you taking control of your own emotions, your own responses to encourage the best outcome in every situation. Because some people is like, when you and your wife argue, me and my wife don't argue. We don't. I can't really remember very many notable arguments. Everything that even resembles an argument turns into a session on how we can just communicate better to get the goal done. What is it that you want? And I already know I'm the person supposed to make that happen. How about we just weed through all the emotion part of it and get down to business? What do you need from me to make that happen? Once you start communicating on a consistent basis like that with your wife, you are now coaching the woman you're supposed to be with for an eternity on how to deal with situations. I feel like a lot of successfully married people, the wife will tell you she adopted the logic of her husband over time.
Yeah,
She
definitely.
just adopted it. You know what? He don't be yelling. I just felt they will start to realize it. I mean, can you imagine yelling at a brick wall? You know what that looks like, right? It's just not giving you a response. Eventually, you're gonna have to change your tone, to get a response out of your husband. And I encourage a lot of men to be like that because it is about you. A lot of us have been taught and it's been nurtured in us to just give back the same energy that you get. But no, you got to sit here with this person. You got to be married to them after the fact. You have to um, give a good example for your children. You got to make sure you keep your voices down when you do have disagreements. So you will learn over the course of time that if you are intentional about not really fussing and getting down to the root cause and the solution of every problem, you will communicate better as husband and wife than you communicate with anyone. Just imagine a team that is solely solution oriented. We don't have to get in here to do anything other than identify the problem so we can solve it. We don't got to argue about whose fault it was. We are just solution oriented. I feel like most successfully married people have that going for themselves in their marriage.
Okay. Our pain.
Yeah, that's very good, Mike, because I agree with you on that one. I didn't have any counseling either, before I got married. I just was ready for it, but I was ready for what came. But that doesn't mean I knew everything going in. I mean, in my interactions with my wife, there's a couple of times I had to learn how she would handle my direction or handle our conflicts, but we never really had big and bad ones. But what I did know is that I couldn't curse when I talked to my wife about anything. Even if I was dead right, as soon as I drop an F bomb, the conversation is over, meaning nothing I said after that would get through. Right. So it's one of my learning things when I deal with her, because she doesn't curse, she doesn't do any of that. So we were having this dispute over something, right? And then I lowered my tone and I made sure I didn't curse at all. And I swear, this was so funny because after a second, she knew what I was doing. She said, "You trying not to curse. You trying not to curse." She got mad at me for not cursing. So she could just like walk away. I said, "That's right. I'm not." And we just started laughing. So whatever we were talking about, it was over. After I just started laughing, I said, "That's right. You don't want me to do this, so this is how we're going to talk from now on." And so it's kind of funny, but it was a learning thing. I knew how I got a better understanding how to communicate with her, and she was right. We didn't have to go that path to get things done. And if we want to get something done, what do you need to do? What I need to do, and let's just go ahead and work towards that. And so that was one of my learning things. I never forgot that. It was pretty funny. It was early on. But yeah, so we didn't have any kind of counseling, but we just learned things as we go. And I used to read some books. I understood that our marriage was the center of our relationship was the center of our marriage. The kids had to be under that umbrella. They never became the focus. Well, marriage always was the focus. And if we had that together, the kids would just naturally get taken care of. That's exactly what happened through the years. So, I mean, we can go on and on about that, but I never got any kind of counseling. I mean, I've seen other people's marriages, but I wanted to fashion my own.
Okay. Conflict resolution, premarital counseling. Where are we at? Mr. He said, did you guys go through any of that? Did you experience any of that in the beginning of your marriage? And if you didn't, how do you guys come to the conflict resolution stage in your relationships when it's, when you're in the thick of it?
Yeah, no premarital counseling. I believe we're a little too seasoned for that. That was before our time. And how we approach conflict is like heavyweight fighters. No hitting below the belt, no biting, no spitting. I mean, it's the same rules apply because one punch can knock somebody out to the point of death. This marriage could die from a hit below the belt, from one hard blow from one of these 200-pound men, these 250-pound men. So we approach it with the same exuberance as a heavyweight championship fight. And as long as, like our pain said, we have the words to articulate ourselves, that was really, you know, the crust of the disagreements. When people don't have the words, they yell, they curse, they call people out of their names. And, you know, I was fortunate enough to not to have to do that. The
Right.
missus didn't like that I had the words and the comebacks and the things to say in retort, but that just, encouraged her to work on her vocabulary, the way she expressed herself. We became, very communicative in regards. So I think it's just that bar, that level of understanding, that level of compassion, and I agree with everything all of the gentlemen said, but we just approach it with a certain respect for each other. Hank says protect yourself at all times, and that's what we do. And we were individuals before we came together. You deserve a certain level of respect. I
Right.
shouldn't be calling you all kinds of out your name, B's and H's, and then expect you to put those same lips and use these same lips that I called you all of that to do something extra special later. It's insensitive, it's disingenuous, it's a lot of that. And when you have
Unloving.
respect for yourself, you will not allow someone to do that. So, that's the standpoint that we take, and we've always addressed each other with that respect, and it's worked out so far.
Mhm. Okay. Hank, did we do conflict resolution and premarital counseling with you? I don't think we heard from you on this.
No. So as far as premarital counseling, yes, I recommend it for us to do it because I know we both came from a broken marriage, so I don't want neither one of us to repeat the same things that caused issues in a previous marriage. Is the main reason why I recommend it for us to do such thing. Now, as far as family, and I don't believe in family getting involved in a marriage at all. They should have, once we get married, their input is no longer needed or necessary, because at the end of the day, it's between me and her, and we got to fix it. It's a circle of two, not a circle of three or four, and everybody else is not gonna mess up my stew. You get
Mhm.
to putting a lot of hands in my stew's gonna fuck up my stew, and you're not gonna fuck up my stew. So we're gonna cook together. We're gonna work this thing out. If we need a third party, we're gonna go to counseling. That's what we're gonna do. If we need a
Mhm.
third party to come in, we're gonna go to counseling. Because what I don't like is you go to my parents. My parents are already biased towards the son, me. Or if I go to her family, they're already biased to her. So how am I going to get an honest assessment? Are we
Mm.
really not? Because they're gonna look, well, I don't want my daughter to be hurt, so I don't want to really hurt her feelings. So I'm not gonna really tell her shit stinks, even though it does. But I'm not gonna tell her that. So I can't do that. So I don't believe in family in involving themselves. And people are like, well, what if your son? I said, I will coach and I will educate and I will teach my son all the way up to the day he says I do. Once he says I do, I said hands off. I recommend to him and his wife talk it out. If they need to get a third party, get a counselor, go to therapy. If that's what you need to do. But I'm not gonna sit there and tell you how to run your marriage, because at the end of the day, that's gonna be your decision. Because guess what? You come to me, I'm gonna look at her sideways, feeling some type of way because I heard about what she did or what she said to you or how she treated you.
Mhm.
I'm at the family reunion. Now y'all all fine and good, but I'm still feeling some type of way. Because I feel like
Hey,
she
Hank.
totally disrespect you.
Hey,
Yes,
Hank.
sir.
The question was premarital counseling and how do you handle conflict and conflict resolution?
Oh, I thought I answered the question.
Yeah.
I said I will go to
Yeah, he suggests premarital counseling.
yes.
And he was talking about how he wouldn't, suggest
As far as
parents get
family.
involved. Yeah.
And so I wouldn't do that. Now, how do we handle any conflict? Well, that's the conversation we got to have. Me and her, we're gonna have this hard conversation, a tough conversation, need be, and hopefully we can work things out between us two. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I don't believe in family getting involved. So if it's something that we can't work out, then we're gonna go to therapy. We're gonna go to marital counseling and get this thing worked out. So maybe it's something I'm not seeing. Maybe it's something I'm not recognizing, and that my counselor can help me recognize what I'm not seeing, or maybe have some type of clarity on what she's trying to say. She just don't know how to express it in a way that I can understand it.
Mm.
So that's how we would handle as far as the conflict resolution part of it. Come on, King, trying to interrupt my game plan now. God damn.
My bad, brother. My bad, my fellow light skinned bearded guy.
Oh,
King,
okay.
did you go? Did
I
you
did
go
not,
on this
but
one?
I don't know what I could contribute to this one. So I'm gonna say pass.
Okay. Um, and if I may, I think for you, as far as conflict resolution, you're incorporating the hot, honest, open, and transparent. And I think in conflict resolution, we do have to be honest, open, and transparent, because I think Ricky said it, that a lot of people are walking around here fake. They're not being honest about those things. And a lot of people don't resolve conflicts in their relationships because they're not willing to be honest, open, and transparent about what's going on, or how they contributed to it, or what can be done differently to move past it. They rather just stay in that funk, and nobody really wants to be there except for the people who don't want to change and don't want to, realize that they need to change. So, you know, you're starting to be hot. That's a way to, fix conflicts, because you're already opening the doorway for honesty and openness and transparency. And, no matter what happens, at least you can say you gave it your all. You ain't leave nothing on the table. So I wanted to ask you guys, what's the best marital advice that you have ever received? And then we're going to talk about the gender war and if we think it can be healed. But as far as marital advice, is there marital advice that you received that was like really good? What's the best advice that you ever received?
Well, I know for me, uh, the best advice I ever received was don't let family get involved in your relationship.
Mhm,
I've seen it way too many times,
mhm,
and I got a questionable future sister-in-law that I definitely don't want to do anything to ruin my relationship, because I've seen how she affected um, my lady's ex husband's relationship, and so I don't want nothing like that. So uh, don't allow family members to be an overwhelming influence in your relationship. Is probably the best advice I got.
okay. Mr. He said?
That's easy question for me. Any boy can please a million women. It takes a man to please one woman a million times.
Okay.
Yeah. Pivotal, operative, and just let me know, that consideration is what's important. That consciousness is what's important. And I take that near and dear. I regurgitate it at every wedding I go to, and it gives the groom a whole nother perspective, because again, we think quantity
Mhm,
is where it is, but it's not. It's quality. It's quality.
mhm,
Um, a lot of reform man whores on the panel. We all have our experiences and our walks, but how many of us have practiced saying no? I told you I
mm,
was I was a sports person, so I went to an all white college. Don't like white girls. I had a lot of practice saying no. Girls in my neighborhood that I just wasn't, no. So it became habit. It became, now I'm looking for reasons to say no. And
mm,
based on the conversation I hear, it's just so many men just find themselves in this vulnerable spot, this weak spot. It was 3 in the morning, the lights was dim, I was full of henny, whatever the case may be, but they just don't have any practice saying no.
mhm,
And I think that's the operative difference. And practice makes perfect. Practice makes repetition. Practice makes things easier. And fellas, practice discipline. This is what all of the fellas on the panels and for the last 2.5 years been telling you. Focus on yourself. Focus on on your finances. Focus on your, you know, focus on yourself, fellas. You are worthy. Marriage is something that we definitely do better in. We live longer, we make more. It's a lot of pluses. But we have to understand and vision ourselves worthy of it, and consider that we have a aspiration and a side and a picture and a story to tell on our half of the marriage as well. So, you know, this was an amazing panel, fellas. I appreciate each and every last one of y'all. Y'all know that. I think I've had the pleasure to grace each and every last one of you guys' panels, but I appreciate what you guys say. I take it near and dear, and I look forward to hearing from you. And Precious, I appreciate you. I scream you out any chance that I get, because you
Thank
are one of
you.
those ladies that I appreciate, I admire, and you know, keep doing what you're doing. I gotta go now. It's getting late. I gotta get up early. But
Mhm.
thank y'all for having me. Pain,
Definitely.
Trigger, King, Hank. Y'all
Thank
brothers
you
keep
so much,
doing what y'all
Mr.
do, man. And all the brothers that were up here and everybody in the chat, man. Thank y'all for having me.
Thank you, Mr. He said. I really appreciate you. I appreciate Mrs. She said as well. So you guys have a great evening. Alrighty. So we're gonna get to no, we didn't finish this question, right? About the best marriage advice you've gotten.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I was trying to think of some advice
Any
that I've heard that's worked for me and or that I've seen work, and I can't think of one,
nothing?
so
Not coming
I'm
up with
out.
anything?
Yeah, I'm out.
Okay. Okay.
yeah. So I'm paraphrasing or kind of putting it together. It was more of a monologue, not just one piece of advice. But if
Mhm.
I'm summarizing it, is don't choose being liked over being ultimately right. And what I
Mhm.
mean by that is, as a husband, there's certain instincts that I have, and certain trusts I must that needs to be given to me on what I say to be ultimately true. And what I mean by that is, if there is something concerning, let's say, the children's safety, and what you'll notice is that a lot of wives will, when they want something, especially if their kids want it, and you're having disagreement as parents, what what most of these punk ass husbands do is they'll acquiesce because
Mm.
they don't want to be disliked within their own home. They don't want to be disliked within the group that's present. They want to be the cool dad for a moment, knowing that you might have just put your kids in danger. Know that this is not the most safe situation for them, but because you don't want to be the one person out of the group that says no, you just go ahead and acquiesce and somebody gets hurt. So it's a bad feeling to feel that the first few times it happens. But basically what the person was telling me, don't be no punk ass daddy. Doesn't
Mhm.
matter if nobody agrees with you. You have that instinct for a reason. And a lot of black men today are inundated. You heard it on the panel tonight with women all around them. His wife got a bunch of sisters and they all think they're right. They all think we should just do it. What's the big deal? Y'all don't see the situation like I see it. In fact,
Mhm.
take your kids to go see it. My kids aren't going, they stand right here with me because it's not safe, right? So men have to be rigid. Trust your instinct and don't choose being liked over being ultimately right. If you know and you have that intense feeling that this is the direction I want to take my family for this reason, and you know you can't be moved on it, then don't move. Right? Everybody's gonna have to respect it. So I've done that on such a consistent basis. Like I said, I started. My wife started to be able to see danger the way I see it.
Mhm.
Right? So it's like
Right.
you're teaching people what exactly your instinct is for. And then there are times where I need to rely on my wife instinct too. Women have a maternal instinct. Y'all are pretty much emotionally and mentally bonded to your children. So maybe I'm
Mhm.
being a little too hard on the children. And I need to lean on her instinct to say, oh, maybe I shouldn't have yelled that hard. All right, I'm gonna go apologize. Right. So it's a symbiotic type of experiment that we're doing. But I do a lot of these punk ass daddies out here. If you think your daughter shouldn't be wearing something, don't acquiesce
Right.
or go change, right? So because you know the way the world works, you know what men are looking for. You know, you just put a target on her back by letting her walk out the house that way. So yeah, that's all. Just choose. Don't choose being liked over being ultimately right.
Hmm. I would agree with that wholeheartedly because my dad sure enough didn't care if he was liked. Okay. Arpane, how about for you?
Yeah,
Best marital advice you've ever received.
I didn't get any marriage advice from anybody.
Okay.
I'm thinking about all the folks that I know who were married. I don't think I had any conversation with anybody before I got married about anything. When I told people I was getting married, they said, "Oh, congratulations," and that's about it.
Mhm.
So everything I learned, I learned all along the way by looking at other folks, but no counseling, no marriage advice. It's funny. I mean, my brother got married early, but he got a divorce early too.
Mhm.
Um, but no, it just didn't happen that way for me.
Okay. So this whole show has been about marriage. It has been about who you were before you were married. But now we're in 2023, right? And we have these gender wars. Do you guys think that there is anything that is going to heal the gender wars or close the gap a little bit further than it's closed? Well, I don't think anything's,
Go ahead,
I
Mike.
do
Uh-oh.
you think that there is anything that can be done on the woman's side and the man's side that will close the gap a little bit, closer on us getting back to love instead of
All right.
separation, isolation?
Let me give you a little bit of this African cynicism. Okay, about to get a little cynical up in here. No, there's not anything that can be done because we
Mhm,
went from a period of things being done to us in the black community to people now doing these things on purpose. They're
mhm,
choosing a life of independence. They're choosing a life to have influence over the community and their children without the influence of their man, right? So that's now a choice. The government's not doing it to you. It's a choice. You're screaming it from the rooftop. INDEPEDENT. Right. So this is how cynical they are in my home country. All right, where I'm from. When you make choices, you then have to suffer from them. If the change you want to see is actually ever going to come about again for people that look like us, people have to suffer from the choices that they've made. We can't save them from it. We keep
mhm,
trying to. We got like some kind of, especially the men, we have some kind of savior complex for black women. But I'm telling you, it's not to be a pessimist or anything. These choices that have been made, that we people behind that are coming behind need to see it play out the way it's supposed to play out. Unfortunately, we need to see the women who said, I don't need a man, go without one for the entirety of their life and suffer through whatever that brings. You need to have that happen. So the people that come behind them be like, not me. Remember, society always corrects itself. We don't
mhm,
necessarily have to impose our will to correct it. We think we just doing it because we want to be good people. We want to be seen saying that we were opposed to this behavior and that we were family oriented. But everybody that made a decision to embrace this type of toxic mentality and ideology, they're going to need to suffer the consequences in order for us to get all change in the community ultimately.
okay. Anybody else? What do you guys think about the gender war? Will it ever be
No.
any peace, or at this point, it's
Yeah, go finish.
the survival of the fittest?
Well, it's funny. When I look at it, there's no end for the gender war for the people who still want to keep fighting.
Mhm,
I think both men and women have to understand that uh, the nature of the game has changed, but the nature of people really hasn't. It's just the tools that everybody uses to abuse one another has changed. Technology and everything else. There's still women out there who want to be married, even though people say
mhm,
they don't want to be. And there's still men out there who want to get married, even in light of being destroyed in like divorce court, family court, and that kind of stuff. So those kind of people are still looking for each other. I mean, I've seen some weddings just happen recently. He wants to get married. He knows all the stuff that's going on out there. So the point is, It depends on what you're focusing on. So the folks who want to stay at war, war. But the folks who are upside down and understanding that you can't ask for traditionalism if you're not traditional yourself. And that usually falls more on the woman's side. They want traditional men, but they don't want to be traditional wives. And that's the way that finger points. And then there's men who bought into this fact that, the bad word of 50-50, right? I mean, men and women have to, in our economy, it takes 2 salaries for the average person to make anything work. That's not 50-50, right? That's just 2 people working together to accomplish a goal, a mission, to move up. But somehow that got bastardized into saying, listen, if I want my wife to chip in financially, then I shouldn't ask her to do anything else, or I shouldn't have control, right? Men don't say their women are partners. Women say that. I wish my wife would call me her partner. I'm not a partner. I'm her husband.
Right.
So it has a connotation that it was just like buddies in this thing, like business partners. But then again, that's a mindset, right? When a person's talking to you as, when women mention the word partner, that's telling a man, and sometimes men miss this, that she looks at you like a business arrangement. Partnership has nothing to do with love and affection. She's looking at you for what you could provide. And a lot of guys miss that. But the war is not going to be over because the powers that be don't want it to be over. And until things start to change, until the economy or the country is completely destroyed, then they're going to start taking away those gifts that they give or have been given to women to force them to be more, to need men more and make that more evident, right? Because we need each other, but women definitely need to have the cover of a man. It's hard being out here. A lot of women are starting to say that, but it's already after they recognize that they're going to be alone. And when I say alone, there's going to be a lot of men alone, but nobody gives a shit about that, right?
And it's not good for men to be alone.
Yeah, so when women start to get on these internets and talk about I'm 45 and nobody's checking for me, well, you brought it on yourself. See, that accountability never comes there. So yeah, the war's never going to be over. But I think I think we should just get tired of talking about it and move on to people who actually want to cleave to each other and want to know they need to both do whatever it takes to make a marriage work.
Right.
And then we need to bring back, the meaning of the vows. If you get married, you got to believe in the vows you're taking or else don't get married. So I'll leave it there.
I definitely agree with that. That's why I wanted to make this into a series. But tonight I wanted it to be just straight talk with you guys about marriage and, how you view it, how it's going for you and what you do, to sustain it. So I definitely appreciate you guys being on the panel. King or Hank, did you guys want to talk about this gender war? What do you guys think it's going to end up being? Are we always going to be in this gender war situation, or is there light at the end of the tunnel?
I don't think there's light at the end of the tunnel. I also don't have a solution. I came into it myself coming out of my divorce asking like what in the world happened, like what's going on, why are things set up this way. The person who I'm with now, I always joke and say that it was a warm lead essentially because it was somebody that knew both of our values that had put us together. But looking at other people's situation, man, it's bad from what I can see, and I don't know what turns it around, barring like something like major.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got to be willing to take some L's. Nobody wants to take an L. Pride won't let them. I mean, I think Ricky said earlier, pride will kill out your relationship, and I think that's what it has done. That's why we're in this position now as far as a gender war, because a lot of pride is on the line. They Uh, some ladies don't want to feel like they're being controlled by a man. That's why that word is submissive is so. It's like
Like a hurt
kryptonite.
word.
Yeah,
Right.
it's just like kryptonite, and then it kills them out. So they're not trying to hear that. But that submission you're gonna get from a woman, you a man has a lot to weight and obligation and things to carry with that. Now, as men, you got to be able to do that. You, if that's what you request, man, she's putting her trust in you. That means you can't let her down, and it means if you let her down, you better figure out how to get it back together. Come to her with a bit of, hey, baby, I apologize. I made a bad decision. I made a bad investment, but I will get us back on track, and we'll be better than ever. And you got to be open and honest about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You can't just sit there and try to be sneaky and hide it and be deceitful and think it's going to go over. It's not going to go over too well, because if that shit backfires again, she's going to wonder, well, how did it get this bad? Well, it started with this. Well, why didn't you share that with her? Why didn't you let her know so she could maybe help you, maybe bring some suggestions to the situation? Instead of, you're bragging away, oh, I can do it all myself. No, sometimes you can't. Even as a man can't always do it himself. Even a man needs help. Whether he want to admit it or not, needs help. So I think we both got to make some type of sacrifice. Who's going to be willing to the need and have the conversation? Saying come to the table in good faith and let's make this negotiation and go from there.
All right, so we're gonna hit on final thoughts, but before we do, I want to read some of these super chats and some comments here. So Henry Resilient says any man getting married from here on out deserves anything that happens in their inevitable divorce. Henry
That's
Resilient. I actually seen him on The Lead Attorney.
that's my
Um,
guy. Yeah.
yeah,
He is going through a nasty divorce,
yeah.
and this isn't no secret. He's
Mm,
a content creator as well, and yes,
yeah,
his view is that he is not doing it again.
yeah. Well, wish you well throughout those proceedings and whew, the ripping of souls. I always say divorce is the ripping of souls. So if you can do it once and one time only. Sean Bolden says, I asked before, it sounds like your wives. Did your wives shape you or did you shape your wives or both shape each other? Who needed the most balance at the beginning? Did you guys want to quickly answer that?
I don't think you can possibly be in that long of a relationship without shaping each other.
Right.
And it's going to depend on the couple. Like I think I laid it out very clearly. I'm the one who came, from the two-parent household with the example. She needed a lot of balance, but then I had to realize that I was too rigid, too stoic, too, immovable on certain things. And it also comes in a point where you don't want, if you care about your companion, you don't want to bulldoze them. You actually want them to have stake in the things that you're doing as a family, right? So, I made most of the, I'm gonna say, the great decisions in this house, but it even felt good to have to bring my wife along and have her make it seem like she gave me her hand willingly to come along rather than me grabbing her arm and pulling her to come along, right? So yeah, you definitely are going to have times where you feel like you're shaping each other, and especially as you start to form what I call your family identity, right? So everybody can imagine those older Brady Bunch type shows where the family would either have the name on the mailbox or on the
Mhm.
carpet, right? You're going to develop a family identity. So you're going to. The funny thing is, you talk about shaping your partner. My wife uses most of my catchphrases now. She don't even know it. She'll
Mm.
deny it if I told her, but she says things, makes facial expressions, and does. I'm like, oh, this lady thinks she's me. Who does she think she is? But yeah, you're absolutely gonna rub off on one another like that.
All righty. We're gonna go on to the next comment because I want you guys to speak to this. Eve says, I'm scared to get married. So what would you tell the woman who says that she is scared to get married?
She
I'll
needs to
tell her
be
she
more
should be.
specific on what she's scared about.
I'll tell her she should be.
No, no, she needs to be. She got to be specific on what you're scared about. because
No.
I don't see any real downside for women to get married. Not these days.
You know
You
what,
know,
Bane?
you know,
Well, look at all we talk about on these shows and these panels. She should be afraid, not just of the men.
afraid
She
of
should be
what?
afraid. She should,
Afraid of
Lord,
what?
think about it this way. A lot of women need to be afraid of their own decision making. They don't. A lot of them don't make good decisions in partners. And really, what I think some women are crying out for help is, I need to break a cycle. Like, think about it this way. Most women are charging men with the experience one man or one style of man gave them. And they keep going back to that same dude. They
Right.
keep going to, the dirt, the dirt to find good men. But, and when they say they're afraid to get married, it may not have anything to do with men in general. It could be something like an introspective style statement.
No, from that standpoint, I agree with you. And that would be like, but she would, a woman would never admit that. They would never admit to themselves that they're scared to be married because of the things that the choices they make. When a woman asks, "I'm scared to be married," she's thinking that a man's going to do something to her, right? So,
Yeah.
But like I said, what you said is true, right? If they're not going to, look at a man for that and be, a trauma bond with a person or the lowest common denominator, man, yeah, they should be scared. So yeah, I agree with that part, but that's not what she said.
True. I think we just got to interpret.
Well, look in the words of my man, the great Aaron Hall. He said, "Baby, don't be afraid. I'm not gonna hurt you." That's what he said. Baby, don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid.
No, not the fast version.
Oh,
I'm talking about the slow version, the love making version. I'll be playing it tomorrow on Amp Radio. I promise you
There
that.
you go. There you go.
It will be in the rotation. But no, all serious note, look, Eve, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid at all. I mean, look, it's a chance you taking. Life is a risk, right? You gonna roll the dice, and if you do what you need to do, and as far as vetting the man and sending him to your father, hopefully you have a good relationship with your father and allow him to have the conversation with him and cipher through the BS. You know what I'm saying? And then let him, and hopefully he's a good trusting type father. You'll trust what his decision is, and he'll send you back and he'll give you the head nod for yes and a head shake for no. And like, this ain't the one, and keep it moving. But look, if you're worried about losing material things and some people, how about y'all talk about a prenup? If that's what you're afraid of, if that's your fear, I don't know. Like you said, it's not very specific. It's very vague what it is. But if that's what it is, hey, talk to him about a prenup and go and get that thing going, and then go from there. But I'm not a fan of it because I feel like you pretty much setting yourself up for an exit plan any given moment. I don't believe in that, but some people need the help for their fears and put them at ease. So if that's what it's going to take, I advise you to do what you need to do that. But get that experience, and I'm sure you're going to have a successful marriage. You know why? Because you come to the basement. You rock with me. So you got a chance.
Yeah, I see Eve's name every now and again on some of my posts, and I would say there are some things she's inquisitive about. She gives her opinion about. Um, it's crazy that women are scared to be. It's not crazy that they're scared to be married. I shouldn't say that. Um, but it shows you where we are in society when it comes to trusting the protection and the provision of a man. To say that you're scared to do that um, means that there's apprehension there, and then you have to figure out, like our pain. He said it perfectly. What exactly are you scared of? We have to get to the root of those things and be honest about those things, because if it's and it's not even the other person and they're not even in the picture yet and you're scared of that, you have to, unravel what the fear is, because with him being in the picture, your fear is going to bleed over onto him, and he's gonna be able to sense that and know that there are some things that you're doing out of fear. So I do appreciate Eve's perspectives when she comments. I think I don't know, I want to get together. I want to get the ladies together. I used to do ladies night on Wednesday. We may have to bring that back or do like a I don't know, every other Wednesday ladies night because um we shouldn't even be walking in fear. As a woman who wants to be in a union with a man, and I'm not saying that we won't be fearful, but we have to walk in faith as a woman, as the lesser vessel. You have to walk in faith. You have to submit underneath of a leadership where you're going to walk in faith. It to me, it's part of the package. But it's not about me. Okay, so we have this next super chat. $4 information man show says respect to you and the panel. We had a lot of people come through tonight in the chat. I appreciate you guys for sharing this live as well as getting the word out there that we were having it. It's definitely not going to be our last one. Next time I do want to have like supporting videos and things and break the show up a little bit. But I wanted to get to the root of who you guys were, so that when we do come back up, if you guys are in the rotation of men who want to be involved in this marriage vow series, that people have a little bit of background on you so they can understand your perspectives a little bit better. So we're going to end off with the final thoughts. We've been on here for about 3 hours. I can say, though, the Eagles won. We got another W3 and O EAGLES. Go Eagles. But final thoughts, guys. Go ahead. Final
Well,
thoughts.
I guess I go first since I'm up first. Uh, my main thing I'm gonna say, like I always say, black man, protect yourself at all times, man. Do what you got to do to get your mental right. Whether if it means you got to get on somebody's couch or somebody's Zoom meet, man. Get your mind right. Make sure you get your blood work done. Your A1C in order. Heart disease and diabetes, two of the most biggest killers amongst black men. So make sure you get your doctor visit, man. Do what you have to do. Don't skip out on that. Don't be afraid to go to the doctor and get checked. If something don't feel right, make sure it's right. Go to your doctor, have that good, wholesome, honest conversation, and then go from there. Another thing, a man of my age and Brother Payne's age, we got to get our colonoscopy and our prostate checks. It's a must. Colon cancer is a mother, man. I seen what happens. My great-grandfather passed away because of colon cancer, and I seen what it done to him. Now, if he had been on his job, he could have got that dealt with sooner and got that taken care of, but unfortunately, he didn't. And so he had to suffer the consequence because of that. But that made awareness in my life, so, hey, I can't do this. So take care of your business, fellas.
Your business,
All
fellas.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and
Oh, okay. You want me to go first, Mike? So so you're gonna be
oh man,
as
I'm about
profound, huh?
no, I'm gonna be real quick. Thank you for
Okay.
having me up here, Precious. I gotta go, but
course.
this is one of them ones, man. This was a really dope conversation. Y'all see how mellow the fellows are, and I'm soaking up all the experience because one of the things I want men to know is that you're never done learning. You're
Right.
never done learning. You can get gems at any time in your life from people that are older, younger, just doing things and have different experiences from you. So I'm just glad to be in a space of non-toxic space where I get to learn from like-minded people and individuals. So I'm really blessed to have that. Thank you for having me. Y'all have a good night.
Thanks so much, Mike. Have a
All
good
right,
evening.
take it easy, bro.
All right.
Yeah, Precious.
Payne?
Yeah, thanks for letting me up.
Of course.
When I saw all the fellas up on there, I said, I gotta get up here.
I didn't know if you had another. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I didn't know if you had another social media. So I told the guys, I was like, if you guys know our Payne social media, tell them I want them to be on Monday night. So I appreciate you being here.
I had you on my schedule. I went down to watch the Eagles game. I was in a different room. I said, oh man, I'm missing it. Anyhow, but Hank, you're absolutely right. It's funny. I've been having this flu cold. I just went to see my doctor today. So I got a machine for a nebulizer for my chest and my thing. But yeah, I went through the prostate thing. I go, my mother passed away from colon cancer, by the way.
Oh, wow.
So I've had that, I've had that procedure done several times. I'm due for another one. But yeah, actually I'm down like 75 pounds from my worst
Wow.
weight, so I'm not telling nobody what it is. It's all but it was I was, oh my God. So I'm still working it.
Mhm.
And so I got my goal set there, so when I went to college, I was 168 pounds, and that was a long time ago. And a whole bunch of weight since then. But yeah, it was 160. I still can't believe it. I thought I was born at 168 pounds.
Oh,
But
no.
anyway, but in terms of marriage, I really, it's not, I feel not pity. I feel kind of, sad for folks finding it so hard to make relationships work, because a lot of people just think that it's so difficult. And I'm not, it's not. It's a choice. You make this choice, right? You take
Mhm.
these vows, you make the choice. If you make a choice like that, why would it be so difficult to stick by the choices you made unless you allow all the outside forces to infiltrate what you're trying to do?
Right.
Whether you're a man or a woman, and like I said before, my wife is with me because she chooses to. I don't have any illusions that I've done something real magical other than provide her something to cling on to. But she chooses to do that every day, just like I choose every day to stay with her.
Mhm.
And I'm sorry that the young people think that there's no way they could ever have that. That's just not,
Yeah.
that's just true. It just got to look a little harder.
Mhm.
That's all. But anyway, so I'll just leave it there. There's love out there. You might have to compromise a little bit more, especially if, let me tell guys, even if you were paying all the bills, you still want you're still going to have to do some other things around the crib. You can't just expect your wife to do everything, especially if you have young kids and she's chasing these young kids around every day. That's a job.
Mhm.
They'll be Google gagaing and she don't have no adult conversation. You got to provide that when you get home. So every so often you got to give her a break. And even if you work, so I mean it's one of those kind of things. So anyway, then we
Yeah.
can have a conversation about that.
Well,
Okay.
I really do appreciate you guys
Thank
for coming up, for sharing your perspectives, for being hot, honest, open, and transparent. I learned some things about some of you guys. Like I said, I've been on this YouTube journey and I've had um, just the pleasure of sharing panels with you guys coming on my panel. And so I think we all share, the same, if not vision, at least direction. And I think it's important for us to have these conversations so people can know that it's real. People can see what the real relationship is like. Some people do have the date nights every week, whereas like Ricky was saying, hey, we're a little bit spontaneous. We may have it, we may not, but we gonna do it. It may not be weekly like everybody else, but we still gonna do it. We're still gonna incorporate it. And you saw that around the whole panel, how there are certain things that are priority. You saw everyone didn't come from the same background, but you made the best out of what was given to you. And so I appreciate you guys. Like I said, I do respect you guys. And I'm always open to hear your perspectives and gain understanding on how it's going in, this 2023, how you guys are still able to sustain what you have when people aren't even able to keep, what they start. So I really do appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And like I said, I do want to do a series of wedding vows and how we talk about the importance of the wedding vows, because most women, they want that wedding, they want to walk down that aisle, they want to look good, but the marriage is a different story. And so I want you guys to be able to dive into that too. And if your significant others, your wives, your boos want to come in and shed some light too, the panel is always open for them as well, because seeing it from the other side is important. But we've had this men's panel on Monday now for so long that I think people are just used to seeing you guys come up here and kind of seeing what you have to say. So we'll work all those fine details out in the back end. But again, I appreciate you guys, the chat, everyone who super chatted. Thank you guys so much for being here. Definitely subscribe to the channel if you haven't. The Real Precious. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Threads. Child, I don't know if anybody's still on Threads. Anybody still on Threads? But I am out there. Hank, like, I don't know. I don't even know. But I really do appreciate y'all. And I always say at the end of every live, I'm sorry, King. I'm so
It's all
sorry.
it's all
I
good. I was
horrible.
waiting on my chance, but I'm like, I think she about to end it.
I
So
think I did this to you one time before. I'm sorry.
it's all good. Let's see.
What are your final thoughts? I apologize.
I'll try and be brief. I'm thankful that you invited me. Initially, when I saw what you wanted to do and everybody that you were inviting, I was like, I don't know if I'm somebody that should be on this panel as a guy that has openly came out and said, I'm not sure if I want to be married again. When you when you or people take a look out there. I can't speak for everybody, but speaking for myself, when I look out, I don't see a lot of people that have the our pain length of marriages, the people that are 20 plus, 30 plus or whatnot, willing to come on and be vocal about what it is that's work for them and just giving different nuggets about the subject and things like that. So I'm glad that you are doing this. One of the people that I know was watching this is a lady that her viewpoint is there aren't any real like good men out there that want to live the life that a married life, right?
Mhm.
And I was hoping that she watched this and just kind of hear from good quality men that you know are looking for a marriage that have some input on it so that she understands that look they're out there, it's
Mhm.
just not going to be this easy thing or something that's just going to fall into her lap. So I'm thankful that you did this. I don't know if my presence added anything, but I am curious to see how you keep this going forward, specifically with this one focusing on marriage.
Definitely. And you're my co-host. Can you have to be here? Hello.
Rock on.
You have no choice. But I think that we can all learn, and I think the best thing that we can do is change because change is inevitable, right? And so I think that this series is going to show people the positivity and the positive side of relationships. And the more that you're surrounded by that, and the more you have people coming in and hugging you and saying, "Hey, it's okay," the more you are inclined to, want to have that love, want to have someone that's going to be there for the rest of your life and hers. So, you're definitely needed, King. Your perspective is great. You've had experience in the field before, and so, that doesn't go unlooked. Your experience, just because that's not your current state, doesn't mean that your history is just now, trash. No, you learn from that, you move forward from that. And God does things in mysterious ways, and you just never know how he's going to change your heart. So I appreciate you guys for being here. Those who are in the chat, I appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you so much, because y'all don't have to be here, and you choose to be here. So I really do appreciate that. And I always say at the end of my lives, guys, be real with yourself so you can be real with others. We're gonna get out of here. You guys have a great Tuesday. Have a good night.
All right, you too. Thank you.
Oh, no problem.